Okay. Are you guys ready?
I guess.
All right, let's do this. Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of The Local Lens, Lawrenceville Unfiltered. My name is Louie Campbell, and sir, you are?
Dwayne Volkman.
And I am Keith Bellinger.
You're Gavin's brother, right?
Yes.
Okay. I thought you looked familiar. Saw you in church this morning. You were the guy up front.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was.
With the really big mouth.
Yes.
Yep, you're the one. I thought so.
That was me. Yeah.
So, as has become customary, we're going to do a recap of the Lawrenceville City Council meeting that happened this past Thursday on July 9th. Yeah. The meeting actually was preceded by an second reading of the annual appropriations bill.
Yep.
That started at 6:50 p.m. And one thing that stuck out during the second reading of the annual appropriations bill, Dwayne, you pointed out that the amount that they read this time was nearly $850,000 higher than the amount during the first reading.
Right.
Which I did some research, and it's not illegal for them to do that, but before they vote to pass the appropriations bill, they have to give notice to the public so the public can come forward and offer comment on the appropriations, which they had not done that, and they actually needed to pass the appropriations bill Thursday night. Right.
Yeah. And I knew that they had to give some kind of notice. I wasn't quite sure on what the time frame was. That's why I asked for input from the mayor, and
well, the lawyer even said,
yeah, he chimed in too. But I think what's more troubling to me is the mayor didn't even know, and not only did the mayor not know, no one else on the council knew.
And the mayor tried to pass the buck to our city clerk.
Yeah, who wasn't there? He's on
threw him
vacation,
under the bus a little bit.
But yeah, threw him under the bus. And even if the clerk, the clerk did give him those numbers, a couple questions. Where'd the clerk get them from? I mean, it's not his job to come up with these numbers. The mayor didn't explain where the numbers came from. And the mayor should review things like that before a meeting. I mean, we get our packets as council members 2 nights before, actually it's in the afternoon. We get them Tuesday afternoon, and the meeting's Thursday night. I didn't have an opportunity to open mine Tuesday night, so I opened my packet Wednesday, and that was one of the first things that stuck out at me. So it's just troubling that, and I think I hope people realize it just kind of goes to show that the majority of your council members and the mayor, they're just going through the motions.
It almost seems, I'm not saying it is, but it almost seems that they may open the pack, but it doesn't look like they're reading it.
Yeah, I've seen
or
that.
If they are, skim.
I've seen it in the past where people, and you can tell that they're just opening it because it's sealed.
Oh,
they just opened
yes, they didn't even know. Okay.
I didn't notice that this past meeting, but it's happened before. But again, who's watching the store here?
Yeah, right.
I know for a fact that you're prepared for these meetings because on the things that you're allowed to discuss, the things that aren't going to be discussed in closed session, for example, you do get together and we discuss some things that are going to happen at the council meeting. Obviously, not things that are going to happen in executive session. But
we do that with our whole group. I mean, Keith is there often. We have other people show up. The group is growing. We've had a couple new people who said just recently they're going to try to make it. And I think the reason that it's growing is people are opening up their eyes a little bit to what I believe is a certain level of mismanagement. Now, I appreciate you saying that I'm prepared. I'm not prepared for everything, and I make mistakes.
You're human.
But that's pretty serious. We're making that an ordinance. We're saying that the city can spend up to this number.
Right.
And he brought a number $850,000 higher than he read last month, and that new number had not been properly posted. Now, what would have happened if we would have passed that?
It would have been illegal.
Okay.
Yeah, it would have been an unlawful budget. So,
and very likely, most people may not have caught that, but if someone did, we would have had to redo it. But that brings another question to the table that you brought up earlier.
Yeah.
Why are we doing this months after the fiscal year begins.
Yeah, fiscal year begins May 1st.
Right.
And here it is, July 9th, finally putting a budget in place for the fiscal year.
Right.
So it's a full 2 months and several days after the beginning of the fiscal year. Now, again, I don't know if that's been the practice in the city. I know that's how they did it last year, but I think it requires a little bit of research to find out if that's how the city has done it for many years.
Right. It doesn't seem.
But it doesn't seem
right to me either.
Doesn't seem right. I believe they should try to have that passed at least by the May council meeting to coincide with the beginning of the fiscal year.
Yeah, you would think.
Preferably before the May meeting.
Well, especially since Lawrenceville's only 4,000 people, I could see maybe in Springfield and Chicago they're late on their budgets, but that's millions of people. This is 4,000.
What happens at the federal level whenever they're late for a budget? They shut down the government.
They shut down the government.
And you might think that, Keith, but if one did the research, maybe they're not late in the bigger cities. Maybe they have to be on time. At least, like you said, on the federal level, they have to shut it down and vote for a continuing resolution.
Right.
And what happens?
And we don't do that. How could we have gone 3? Well, according to the attorney, we had to pass it last Thursday. So is it it's only 2 months that you can go by? I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, or are we? Again, we don't know this. These are just questions. Are we spending money unlawfully in May and June and the first week or so of July because there is not a budget in place and there is no, for example, like the federal level, a continuing resolution? If they have not legally appropriated the money to be spent, how are they spending the money during those 2 months?
It's a valid question, and I don't know the answer to that.
Yeah, it's.
But I can guarantee you this, and I've made this clear, and I will not back off of this. I have no desire to be the mayor.
Right.
I have some people, a person in mind that I would wholeheartedly support. Someone who's man, I hate to admit this, a lot smarter than I am on certain things.
Better
Took some courage and guts to say that.
A way better pool player.
No, I won't say that. But I can guarantee this: if I were sitting in that chair, and I would believe that you could say the same thing, I would have caught that. That was a glaring.
Yeah, when he started reading
obvious.
it, I caught that it was much higher because I remember it was 6.9 million at the first reading, and then it was like 7.7 million.
There's just so many things. I mean, you can lump that in with what's happened and is currently going on with our water system and our wastewater operator. Some of these other reports we'll go over here in a minute, why they're consistently off and wrong. The 30% overtime that, I know I'm getting off topic a little bit. We'll get into this more. But
John White.
On and on and on. 30% overtime that the treasurer has calculated. Each department spends X amount for their regular hours, and then multiply that times 30%. We're spending.
And even the police department 69 hours overtime after their
For one officer.
for one officer.
That's a week period.
Well, let's get back
So,
on. Let's get back on her.
on topic. So we had that issue.
We had our regular call to order at 7 p.m. to start the actual council meeting. Normal pledge and prayer, roll call. All council members were present and accounted for.
Yes, they were.
Then there was a recognition of visitors. The people who spoke, and we'll go through here one at a time in the order, was first myself, Louie Campbell.
Yeah.
And I had some questions for the mayor regarding a BRIC grant. I had sent him a text message on Father's Day weekend over the weekend of June 21st. And he promised me he was out of town traveling. He was going to get back to me the following week.
But
Several days went by, 9 days, as a matter of fact, went by with no response from him. So I sent him a friendly reminder. Then I waited another 24 hours, nothing. So then I posted about it.
right.
And as of July 9th, he had still not gotten back to me. So I questioned him about it at the council meeting if they were going to apply for the BRIC grant. His answer was no, there was no intention to. And he did provide a clear answer for that later in the meeting, and we'll get to that. And I agree with him.
And I do too.
On why.
But what's troubling is, to me, I don't know if it's arrogance. I don't know if it's that he just didn't want to inform you, but you asked him that in those emails, and he had an answer prepared, as we'll talk about later. He mentioned why
Yes, he
we're not
did.
applying for it later on. And again, I don't disagree with him.
I don't have He had a
But
good
why
answer.
Why not tell you whenever you
I have my thoughts. I honestly think
when you're at not just your email? Why not tell you when you brought it up at the podium?
I honestly believe the reason that he did not answer me, my personal belief, was he was confident that I was going to speak about it and call him out about it during my speech at the council meeting, and then he could get me in a gotcha moment by answering it later, which he did. Again, I agree with his assessment of why we're not applying for the grant.
I do too.
I think it's a wise decision, and I complimented him online for that decision, and that's the difference. Is that myself and those sitting at this table, we can compliment the mayor when he does well,
Oh yeah.
when he does right, but I don't see them doing the same in return.
Right.
So,
In the spirit of cooperation.
and I don't need their compliments.
It's
but-
not just
No.
cooperation. The spirit of accountability is not there with him
It's not.
and some of the council members.
Yeah. So I also asked him directly if he plans to terminate Aaron Tipsword, and he said no, not at this time.
Not at this time, right?
I asked him why he hadn't done it. He said it's no comment. That was a personnel issue, basically. I thanked him, and I thanked Teresa Green, and I want to say again, thank you both for the outstanding welcome home parade that they put on for Ryan Farrar, our Special Olympian. He was very grateful for the welcome.
That was cool.
It was very cool. They had multiple fire trucks and police vehicles and emergency responders in the parade. The mayor was in the parade, and I was happy to see him in the parade because that's his place as our mayor,
Right.
to be in that. And Mr. Farrar was very grateful. So,
Yeah.
and Teresa,
She took the lead on that.
she did. I had the thought. I reached out to a member of the family, and they said they thought it would be a great idea. And then I reached out to the mayor. He said that Teresa was already on it. So I reached out to Teresa, and she knocked it out of the park. She did a great job. So Teresa, thank you so much for what you did. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
So does Ryan and his family.
Oh yeah, he does. That's something that young man will never forget, and he's worked hard to get to where he's at.
Next up was John Couch. He and his wife are part of a Christian music act called Simply Jesus, and he is also part of an organization and a music act called. I was getting ready to say One Direction. It's One Cause.
One cause.
One Cause, and One Cause Mission is their nonprofit fundraising arm, and they raise money to help fight child trafficking. And he gave a short presentation about what they do and how much it costs per child. We had John on the podcast several weeks ago, and he explained that last year their organization was responsible for rescuing about 56 or 5,700 kids from child trafficking, like slave trafficking, sex trafficking. And it cost approximately $1,500 per child, to rescue them. And that's a lot of money they have to spend to do this, but it's worthwhile.
Oh yeah.
And he also gave another number, and every time I hear it, it makes me sick.
Yep.
Over 300,000 kids in the United States per year
Yeah. Just in the United States.
disappear into child trafficking. That's ridiculous. That's terrible. We need to do more to fight that. So, but he asked the council to reconsider the donation, because last month they had voted to donate $500 to Destiny Rescue, which he is tangentially affiliated with. And he asked if it would be redirected to the One Cause Mission, which is based out of Vincennes, Indiana. And they do more stateside and local interactions, so interdiction for child trafficking. So, and later in the meeting, the council did approve that donation, and we'll get into that more. A gentleman by the name of Gavin's brother Bellinger, Keith Bellinger, spoke. And Keith, I'll let you take away what you talked about.
Well, I basically said what you said on the first part, that I thank the mayor for being in the parade and for Teresa doing a good job, but also for the council and whoever's involved in the beautifying of Wishnick Park. I drove by. Very nice.
It's very nice.
I mean, really a lot nicer than I thought it was going to be. And I just was thinking then that doing this together, that's what leadership's all about. But I had 3 questions, though. Why is Aaron Tipsworth still being employed? Obviously, we haven't really got a clear answer at all, but hopefully we will one day. And then I was talking about the water lab and the analysis that it was E. coli, but I wish they would have told us before we said it, because here's the paperwork here, and it does say that there's E. coli in well number 12 and 15, but then we were told during the meeting that was, they had a vial that was bad or something, so they got another one.
I think he said almost verbatim there was a box of the test tubes that had been sitting around for a while or something like that.
Which doesn't surprise me, by the way.
Yeah.
Anyway, so there wasn't, though. But my question is, and I think it was yours as well, is how long was the E. coli, if it was even in there beforehand, with all these testings not being accurate and things not being done by the book, who knows? I mean, I'm just saying, who knows?
Yeah. And Mr. Ron Waldrop did bring up a valid point too during. He said that they treat for contaminants such as that at the drinking water facility,
right,
and not at the well. So it's entirely possible that if E. coli was in the water pumped out of the ground at those wellheads, that it was appropriately treated at the drinking water treatment facility.
Right.
So not to cause alarm for the public.
Right. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But we need to know these things.
Questions. Yeah.
We just need to know these things because it is a matter of public health, that our drinking water is safe to drink.
Right.
And with all of the scrutiny surrounding, Aaron Tipsworth,
right,
with the wastewater, he's in charge of the drinking water facility. So,
and if he treats the water like he treated the sewage, that's not good.
Well,
I'm just saying.
There's a management philosophy in business that says how you do one thing is how you do everything.
Well, yes.
And how he did the one thing with the sewer department, if that's how he does everything, that's frightening.
That's very frightening.
It's frightening.
Very frightening.
Yeah.
The third thing I said was about the time clock options. I was just wondering, it had been mentioned or put on the table at least 2 months ago.
Over a year.
Okay. Well, okay.
Yeah.
And is there a timeline? Are we going to address it? Are we not going to? And then they got into it later about, you'll talk about that. But I just brought that question.
Well, it was initially brought up that long ago. And then 2 months ago, I brought up a motion that the committee that handles that bring to the full council options of means of electronic timekeeping in the hopes that we vote for one of those. And next month will be the third month before we get some of those options.
Right.
And we'll get into, unless you want to talk about
we can get into it in a little bit, yeah.
Okay. What we're going to get into is what I believe the subcommittee took it upon themselves to do with that motion that wasn't following the motion.
Right.
Correct.
We'll talk about that now.
And then I ended it with basically saying this, putting all of our efforts together, collaborating and helping each other on the council. And as you were saying before, we were where it's due, saying congratulations to the mayor, to Teresa, others, but we don't ever get that back. We're not asking for it. It's just that you would think it would go both ways, and they would help us as we tried to help them. And I also mentioned that being upset or aggravated or bothered because some people on the committee are more prepared and all that should not be. That should prompt all of them to be more prepared and to be ready and to know what we're doing or what we're going to discuss, opening the packets up, and just being prepared before the meeting starts. And as you know, we see a lot of this, that they're not. They don't know what's going on. They don't know numbers. They don't know facts that they should know, especially as the mayor, but the council as well. And that we're here to improve Lawrenceville. But if you are not prepared and you have the attitude, which seems to have the attitude of apathy, that I don't know, I don't care, lackadaisical, I'm just here for the $200 or whatever. It just seems that way. I mean, you would think they'd be eager to learn, be glad to be to have things taken care of, to do the right thing, and to help Lawrenceville. So
to that point, most of the members of that council are retired.
yes, most of them are. Yeah, right, most.
And I don't understand how they don't set aside the time necessary to do the due diligence so they could do a good job on that council. Not just be a person who is popular and well-liked, but a person who is well-read and well-researched on the things that they're going to vote on. How is it that I work 45 hours a week plus an hour and a half every day of drive time,
Oh yeah.
plus record this podcast, plus host the Monday evening super secret meetings of the Super Secret Meeting Society?
Which we encourage
Plus,
anyone who wants to come, get with Louie or I.
yeah. Plus, maintain a news page that has 9,300 followers now. And I'm still more informed on most of these things that the council votes on than the council members who are voting on it.
That is true. The old saying is still true. If you want something done, ask a busy person. No, I'm serious.
That's true.
You do not ask someone that's not very busy
Right.
because they tend to be more lazy and just put things off, whatever. But if you got a busy person, they have to make sure things get done in a certain amount of time.
And this brings up another point. I had someone make an accusation against me online yesterday, and this person used to be a local journalist.
Yeah.
And accused me of only wanting to build my own personal profile in the community, and for my own namesake, and that I'm out for personal gain, and that I only go on the news to embarrass our hometown. And first of all, I don't want to bring embarrassment on our hometown.
No.
The person who has brought embarrassment on our hometown recently lost his EPA certification. And another person I believe brings embarrassment for those who care is the person who has been sheltering him from accountability.
Yes. Right.
I did not want to even run for city council when I was first asked. I hated the idea of running for city council. I didn't want to get involved, but once I got involved, I'm committed to it now. And the only reason I'm trying to raise my personal profile in the community is so that next time I win and I can get on the city council to make effective decisions, make a difference for the people that have asked me to do so.
But your page online, the Lawrenceville News, whatever it is, I don't think I've ever seen your name on that.
A couple times.
But not very often, though. I mean, you don't go, hey, this is it, and I run this. No.
So, but this person you said used to be a member of the press?
Yes.
Do we know why they're not anymore?
I have no idea.
Okay.
No idea. May not have been something that the person wanted to do. I don't know. Could be a lot of reasons. So, but anyway.
But they certainly didn't. And the way that person attacked you, they didn't attack you on one single issue. It was all personal.
Yes.
They never said, hey, you said this about the wastewater treatment plant and that's not true. Or you said this about Aaron Tipster. You said this about the mayor. In the year, how long we've been doing this? A little bit over a year now, right?
Well,
I haven't seen, correct me if I'm wrong, I really haven't seen anyone
it's coming up
be able to back that kind of claim up that we're wrong on the issues.
Oh, no.
Now, we're not, the possibility that we're wrong about something exists, but no one's debated that with us. It's all personal.
It's all ad hominem attacks, and
yes, right.
Those are weak.
And it used to be frustrating to me, Louie, but now it's just like you just want to give them the eye roll and move on. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And to the idea that I would be doing this for personal gain, that is so funny because a council member makes, with their cell phone stipend, $3,600 a year. So I've lost $20,000 a year of income because of my focus being shifted to helping people of Lawrenceville. I've lost more in 1 year than I would make in an entire 4-year term on the city council. It would take me 2 4-year terms on the city council to to meet the approximate amount of money I've lost in a single year.
Right.
So,
Again, it's all personal. They have
No.
they don't have any ammunition to debate the issues.
I wanted to say one more thing, though. I was thinking team, because that's what I said at the last. We're a team. It's almost like this. I believe Olney played Lawrenceville in football. Don't know who won, but you got this team, Olney. You got this team, Lawrenceville. You got. It's almost like with the council and the mayor, they're the only team, and we're the Lawrenceville team, and they're against us. When they're
You say the council as a whole.
as a
There
whole,
might be
as
one
a whole.
exception. Might be one
Yes.
exception, and that'd be Bob Hedge.
Bob Hedge, yeah, and the mayor. It's almost as if they're on the other team.
Okay, but the mayor's not the exception. Just to be clear, the exception, someone who at least seems to have an open mind, would be Bob Hedge.
Right.
He's listened to what we all have
Yes,
to
yeah,
say.
yeah.
Other than that, I think you're right.
Yeah,
The entire
it
council.
seems like they're on another team, and
Right.
we're on another.
I think Jim Dunn is
Yeah,
on balance more
on certain
open-minded,
issues, yes.
more open-minded than the others
He
on a lot of things.
wants time clocks as well as
Right,
as
right.
I do.
Instead of being on the same team, trying to get together to overcome problems,
Overall, you're correct.
we're separated, and now we're against each other on two different teams. I don't like that. I just,
But you see, part of that is I think that some on the council, and I'm not going to name names,
no,
but
don't.
some on the council, name names as far as the categories I'm talking about, they just don't want to put a whole lot of effort into finding ways to make things better. So they're going to go with the popular people.
Yes.
Right? It's like a popularity contest. And you and I talked about this the other day, Louie. I know that, being elected is, can be defined as a popularity contest.
Sure.
I wish more people, and I'm talking even on a national level, would do more research into candidates. And the person you may vote for in a popularity contest might not be the person you vote for in the election if people did more research.
Oh, yeah.
But I kind of digressed there. But the point is, it's.
Sorry.
You okay?
Yeah. It just got my leg.
It's almost as if they just want to side with the person that they think everybody likes.
Yeah.
And I could have done that a year and a half ago.
Well,
Or a year and so many months ago. I could have done that, and I wouldn't have any of this, pushback from certain people. My life would be much more simpler if I'd have went along with the popular group.
Well, you supported me in the election based upon the way I felt about issues. You didn't even know if you liked me or disliked me yet. We didn't become
Right.
friends until after the election. Really.
Right, but we talked enough that I knew, where you stood on things, and I, real quick, I got a feel for your, your willingness to, if you don't know something, to find out about it, look into it. Are you looking for another compliment here?
Yeah, if you could tell
Oh my! Another compliment.
I'm trying to get around
tell me
that.
how pretty I
Oh,
am.
that's hilarious.
No, but I can see that you're a very intelligent man, and I did not know you before
We did not know each other.
the election. Well,
Right.
I met you a few months before the election
Right.
last year.
Yeah.
So it's just a shame that that's the way it is, because I believe that if someone were to go back and look at all the issues we talked about, let's get away from this for just a second. Indulge me here.
Sure.
Golf carts.
Oh yes.
Council didn't want that.
No.
The mayor didn't want it. Mayor told me many years ago, you'll never get golf carts approved in this town. Side by sides, we tried it again. It's crazy. We'll talk about that in a minute. Why we're not doing it if we did golf carts. Name some other things. Go ahead.
I'm at a loss right now.
Well,
there's been a lot of issues.
We have kept the spotlight on the EPA investigations,
Yes,
okay,
right.
and inform the public. No one else on the council wanted to do that, or they still don't want to do it. They kind of want to keep it, I think, in the shadows. So we've kept people informed there. It's not like we've instigated the investigations. The EPA, they found some problems and they're doing their jobs. We're just making sure that they're doing their jobs. We've looked into the overtime issues. We've looked into the overtime Mr. Tipser's doing at home to check on the computer things that if the plant was working properly, the drinking water plant, he wouldn't have to get $41,000 a year in overtime, based on what he reported at a council meeting, for checking a computer home because there's a broken part of the drinking water plant. I could go on and on with the list, but if I were on the popular team and I was bringing these things up, have you ever stopped to think about how maybe these things might have been accepted?
Yeah.
And maybe things would have been changed sooner. They're looking at it, and we've talked about this before numerous times. Their first impression is who's saying something.
Who is saying it?
Who the person is.
we had
Not
one-
what they're saying.
We had one
Who
council
is?
member agree on video with me that he voted against a motion before because you're the one that posed the motion.
Yes.
Now, recently, he has voted for things that you've put forth a motion for.
Again, giving him credit where credit's due.
But I think that the reason Russell Goins voted against the donation to One Call's mission was because it was your initiation.
That's a reasonable assumption. I don't know. Who knows why he did
I
it.
don't think he likes you.
I know.
And I think
Yeah.
No, wait.
Yeah, what was
He
your
does
first
not
clue?
like you.
What was your first clue? Yeah, we'll get into part of that more here in a minute. But it's just a doggone shame that that's how things are evaluated right out of the gate. Who's bringing up this or that, and that's going to determine who or whether we support or don't support that issue.
But this is the same in state and federal level too. It happens all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you do see some negotiations going on at those levels.
Some.
And it's sad that the partisan division in this country has bled down to the local level so much that if they disagree with you on one thing, they seem to have to disagree with you on everything, and that's just unfortunate.
It is.
So the next person that spoke was Scott Durant. Scott's been
Yes.
on the podcast. He's a good friend. His wife and him had suffered a terrible financial loss due to sewer overflow in their home almost a year and a half ago. And he got up and just questioned the wisdom of keeping Aaron Tipsword on the payroll. And I agree with him.
His house sustained tens of thousands of dollars.
It did.
damage.
Yeah, it was terrible. I've seen the pictures. It was terrible.
It was
the amount of raw sewage that rose up in their
nearly
basement.
3 feet deep.
Yeah, tens of thousands of gallons. It's terrible. And Scott, the people that don't know, I mean, they watch the video and they see him, questioning whether Aaron Tipsword should work for the city or not. They need to get to know Scott on a personal level. He is a very kind individual. He has a giant heart
Yeah.
for people. He genuinely loves other people. And
He and his
doesn't
family, even his extended family, they're
Yeah.
some of the nicest people.
Yeah, and they don't say any of these things out of hatred. They don't have hatred in their heart. He just wants accountability. And if you love someone, you do want accountability to get them on the right path in life, So
But I don't want people to be confused about what that accountability that he and we want, why we want that accountability. It's not because we want it's not because we want retribution.
no.
It's because it was mismanaged. And some of the results of that mismanagement are ongoing and will be ongoing for years to come, i.e. paying EJ Water $150,000 a year to run just the sewer plant. The river being polluted with raw sewage. I mean, there are reports out there. It's not like it wasn't treated enough. It's like there are reports that show it was going over the
lagoon.
the lagoon,
The holding lagoon.
straight into the river.
Which-
there are places right out back here where it's going straight to the river
They're only supposed to allow to divert to the holding lagoon whenever there's too much of an inflow,
and then repump it.
and then pump it back to the plant to
plant.
treat it before
Right.
it goes out. But it wasn't. It was raw sewage from the
Raw
lagoon going
sewage.
into the river.
So it's not retribution. It's this man deserves to lose his job because of this.
He does. And, I'm kind of torn on this. I hope for Aaron Tipsword's sake that I do believe he needs to be fired from the city, but I hope afterwards for his sake that he escapes prosecution.
Yeah, that's right.
And that he finds a job somewhere in maybe a different field of study and he can prosper. However, for the people of the state of Illinois' sake, I hope he faces prosecution and that he gets appropriate accountability for what appears to be criminal actions. So,
Yep.
If anyone can give a valid reason why they think, take his name out of it, someone who's done these things and cost this community so
Should
much,
still be
so many
working
problems.
for Lawrenceville.
Yeah, we'd love to hear it.
Yeah.
Maybe there's something we haven't thought
here's the
of.
thing. I promise you, if it was Louie Campbell who did these things, the mayor would have had me fired, and I would have already had handcuffs around my wrist.
We have already been bringing you brownies to jail. So
Yes, with little files in them, right? Okay. So, okay. Next up to speak was Kevin McDevitt. Kevin is a retiree of the Army, warrant officer, which is pretty cool, and he spoke passionately about the need to add side-by-sides to the city's golf cart ordinance, and he came up with some very good points.
He did.
These are some things that I've said before about golf carts, trying to get them originally added. It does improve local small business. For example, we have Ace Hardware out by Walmart. If I'm going to get in my car to go to buy something, I might think, you know what? Gosh, if I'm going to go ahead and go over to Lowe's and Vincent's and buy what I need, because I can stop at Texas Roadhouse and have a steak. Right? Okay. But if I'm going to get on my golf cart or side-by-side, I'm going to go to the local guy, and then my tax dollars circulate in my neighborhood. I'm paying my neighbor to do a job. And that's important. I think that's, and it benefits the city, not just by keeping jobs here, but it's keeping money here. That money gets spent over, and every time it's spent in our community, a little bit more goes into the local tax base every time. So that $100, by the time it circulates through the community enough times, it's disappeared, but it's disappeared into the local economy, into the local infrastructure and such.
I'm just envisioning you taking your golf cart on the back roads to Lowe's and Vincent's.
Well, you call it a golf cart. I drive an electric vehicle.
Well, I mean, if you had a golf cart, you said if you're going to get in your,
So if I was to get in my vehicle, I may go to Vincent's.
Right.
You know, or I may say, hey, you know what? I'm in the car anyway. I'm going to go to Evansville because I want to see my daughter.
Yes.
You know,
there you go.
and then.
But at the point, even if you just want to do it for pleasure, though, it just makes sense. There's no.
And it was,
I visited a town many times the size of Lawrenceville. I visited that town a lot recently, and that community has golf carts all over the place, and people love it. Again, even there are some people out there online that have made the point that, or tried to make a point that the licenses and the permits for these, not licenses, but permits for these, had maybe hadn't even generated enough income to pay for the signs that we've put up.
That may be true.
But so what? It's because that's what the people want. That's what our community wants. If our community as a whole didn't want it, but I'm confident they do, because I've talked to a lot of people, hundreds of people about this, and that's what people want to have in our community, then we should do it. And the reasons that some of these council members use to not do it is illogical. I don't mind losing a debate when you're using a logical point.
Right.
You prove me wrong, or maybe you've got a logical point and I still don't agree with it, but at least it's a logical point, in the spirit of cooperation. I might concede my point occasionally, but not when you just say because there's there may be accidents. Well, then what should we outlaw cars and
what's funny?
Right.
We had a council member last year before the golf carts was added, and his complaint was golf carts are slower than cars, and because they're slower, they're going to be prone to accident. His objection to side-by-sides were, well, they're a lot faster than golf carts, and
the same person,
same person, and both of his arguments they contradicted one another.
Right. And that person this month said they didn't want golf
Side-by-sides.
side-by-sides because now that we have allowed golf carts, he has seen golf carts
Yes.
on roads they're not supposed to be.
They're not supposed to be on.
And my point was, I see people violating the rules of the road all the time. We're not going to, like you said, we're not going to stop motorcycles. We're not going to stop cars.
No. No.
It boils down to enforcement. If they're doing something wrong, then they should the law should be enforced. But that was their view. And you know what's troubling about that again is that's his view. He's not said. I've talked to community members, and a majority of them don't want it. They've not said that.
Good point.
My point is, I've talked to hundreds of people about this, and I did keep track of the percentage at one time, and I believe it was a little bit over, right around 80%.
Could we do a
8 to 10.
petition? Could we do a petition on this? Or
Well,
can
you
we
can put it on the ballot, but then, you got to do some preparation for that. That costs money.
No. I don't mean ballot. I mean get a petition and get everyone to.
Ryan Curtis did that at one time, I believe.
And see how many people we can get to say, "Hey, we."
Matt Lawson is circulating a petition online
I
currently.
saw that today.
But again, let me finish my point.
Sure.
Okay.
No one on the council that voted no, to my knowledge, at least not to me, and haven't brought up at the council meeting, has said, I don't think we need them because 3 out of 4 people don't want them. Okay, it's I don't want them because I've seen them being misused on the street. One of the council members has told me privately in the past that they get annoyed when they get behind them in Vincent's, and they don't want to have that same annoyance here. Well, you know what? You're not up there to represent yourself. You're up there to represent the majority of the community. And like I said, if the majority of the community didn't want it, I would vote against it.
Well, Matt posted 2 days ago a petition that has already received 134 signatures.
Whoa.
In the community, and I know he's upset about it. He wanted side-by-sides. I know I saw at least one person in the audience that strongly supported adding side-by-sides to the ordinance, and I had a private conversation with this person and informed them, I know that this person backed my opponent in the election. And she voted.
And that opponent voted. Go ahead.
That opponent voted against the side-by-sides, and I told him I would have voted for it. He said, "I know you would have," and he's not happy with the person that he supported now. And had I voted for it, would it have passed? It would have been 4-4 split, and the mayor has already indicated his support for it, so it would have passed because the mayor would have broke the tie. It would have been 5-4. We'd have had new ordinance. So,
you and I had a discussion about that briefly. And even though that constituent is upset with their representative who voted, well, it's really not their representative because that constituent doesn't even live in town. But that's a whole nother. His family does, and I don't know how many of those live in Teresa's ward. But the point I want to make is this: if that person or any person is going to base their like or dislike of someone who represents them based on one vote, I don't think that's right either.
I agree.
If you like that person, you should have liked them and voted for them because of how you saw them overall compared to their opponent, right?
And don't vote for the person because you would have a beer with them.
Right.
Or I like the way you dress, or I like
Back to what I was saying
earlier.
earlier. Get to know what each person stands for, because if that person, I don't know if they talked to you before the election or not, but if they knew that you stood for golf carts and side-by-sides and maybe some other things that particular person wanted to see in our community, and then they went to Teresa and said, "Hey, how do you feel about these things?" Maybe that person might have voted for you.
Well, I think the issue was that I supported Ryan Curtis for mayor.
It's all popular.
And here's the thing: it's okay to vote. At that time, it would have been completely okay to vote for Mayor Courtney for mayor, not for Ryan Curtis, the guy I supported, and still vote for me if you think I was going to do a better job on the council.
Right.
See, it's just
But But that didn't happen, and it is what it is. The people spoke, and that,
But I hope people get more involved in this upcoming election. That there's not a whole lot out there that you and I haven't, talked about where we stand on issues on these podcasts. True. At the meetings that Keith and others are at. Come to a meeting if you want to see more about where we stand on things. But I'll bet you they know a very small percentage or even a fraction of a percentage about the other people that are going to run against us.
They couldn't know much.
Right. So I encourage them to get to know those other people who are going to run against us. And if compare that to what they know about us. Don't do it because you like or dislike one.
Right. And if the person that's going to run against me clearly is going to do a better job on the council than me, then vote for him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I would go as far as to say this. If either one of you lived in my ward and you wanted to run for my position, I would step down. Because I think either one of you would do a better job than I do. I
don't know. You're very well prepared.
Yes, you are.
So
well, but you all are instrumental in some of that, in our group that meets. But again, it's not, at least with me, and I don't think it is with you. It's not about the position.
No,
it's about getting things done.
The guy that made that speech was very dejected.
Is it McDevitt?
McDevitt, yeah.
McDevitt?
Kevin McDevitt.
He left.
Yeah, he was
very sad.
Yeah.
Yep.
I had an extensive conversation with him afterwards.
Sad.
Yeah.
And I wonder how many of the other council members got a hold of him.
Look, hey, that's funny.
I had an extensive conversation
Sorry,
with
but
him.
that's
And yeah,
funny.
He's very respectful. He didn't down, badmouth anybody, but
just a sad.
Just talk about the position, his position on that, my position, which was I voted for it, and thoughts on other things in the community. It might have been enough to get him to be involved in the community more. But anyway, I encourage people to do their research on the candidates.
Yeah, I hope he does get involved. I had a brief chat with him online. He seems like a very intelligent man.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that he and I will always agree.
No.
And that's okay. It's honestly okay if we always disagree. I'm okay with that too, as long as there's an intelligent person with integrity that's standing up for what's right in the community.
Right.
So.
And use some logical points during a debate, not just because we didn't feel like that was the way to do it.
Right.
Next up was Ed Brumley.
Oh, yeah.
I like Ed. Ed's he's a cool guy.
Oh, is that just bubbly? And
super positive. I like him. So he used to do this thing. I don't know if I haven't followed him online for a while, but he used to do this thing where, where's Ed? He would take a picture of something when he was traveling around the country and let people guess where he was. And I got a couple of those. I was able to guess a couple times by. Well, I cheated. I used Google image search.
Yeah. Oh.
So, but yeah, it was really cool that he did that. But he spoke. He thanked the mayor and the council for the involvement of the city in hosting a tour of the armory for the historical society.
Tour of the armory.
Man, I wish I could have went to that. I think that would be cool. I've heard rumor. I don't know if it's true, but I've heard there's a rifle range in the basement.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, very cool. Very cool.
Yep.
Yeah, I would be interested in having a tour of that place as well. So, anyway, on to the next thing. Next up was the approval of the minutes of the regular council meeting on June 11th, and that was approved by the council. Bills of the city, sewer, and water departments for June of 2026. Dwayne, you had an objection because of what appears to be a typo, but it was a massive error in billing.
And again, I don't know if it was an objection as much as it was just pointing out that these reports need to be correct. I don't know that anybody reads them. I know that the city treasurer does. He and I talked about them. But we get these two reports in our packets as council members, and one of them is called the City of Lawrenceville Monthly Budget Report, and it's a single page, and it gives the different departments, then it gives the monthly expense for that particular month, then the expenses to date, and the percentage of the budget, which We don't have a budget right now, so it's
No, we don't.
incorrect there. But, so you take that one page and you should be able to compare it to
Right.
this other report that is, I don't know how many pages it is. I haven't counted.
It's
That's
much more
probably-
detailed though.
Yeah, 15, 20 pages. So, for example, you'll have an administration. Last month, the month of June, we spent $15,038. Then you go to the administration page and it'll tell you wages, Medicare, travel and training, supplies, that kind of thing, right? You get the picture. It matches on everything except for cemetery, which it shows on the individual breakdown of the expenses, $39,949 roughly. On the, well, some odd change. On the expense page that gives the totals only $399,949. And then that number, that large number, is carried down to the total. $360,000 difference, roughly. Well, exactly, I guess, because of that one typo. If this is being entered into public record, it's wrong. And to me, it proves that the mayor, and most likely, unless they just see it and don't want to say anything about it, none of the other council members are looking at these sheets. So why even give it to us in our packet then? What's it for? If it's not right, and if we're supposed to look at this and evaluate, if it appears that we're on budget for a particular month, and if we're way off, we should question it. If we're not doing that, then why even have the darn report? So again, $360,000 off. Now, a single error is fine, but I keep bringing this up month after. I think this is the third month that I've brought up issues with these, putting these two things together. Louie, you're a computer guy. What could a person do to eliminate the human error aspect of this, the possibility of a human error, by integrating the two reports in a computer system?
Well, depending on what software is used, I know within, for example, Microsoft Excel, you can create it so that this document pulls data from the other document, so that when you enter it one time, it automatically populates to the other document.
Right, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, there's many computer programs out there that do that.
Yes, there are.
Companies use that all the time. That's basic computer stuff, and I'm not a computer guy. So whenever you're typing in all your individual numbers of things that you spent in each department, it'll and all you want on this one is the total. That total number goes right over here.
Yep.
Now, there are depreciation numbers in here that's not in here. Okay, so the lines that are marked depreciation, you just don't include those in the total. Again, to me, it should be simple stuff, and I'm not even a computer guy. And it's true that it's the clerk's position. The clerk does these, but the mayor gets them on his desk, and I bet you he gets them sooner than 2 days ahead of time, like we do. The mayor is the CEO of the city, of the town. He needs to do something to get that corrected. We talked about a couple months ago. We talked about the city has been making payments to companies for late payments of bills. It's not as if we don't have the money to pay the bill. It just isn't getting paid. The CEO needs to go to the guy paying the bill and say, hey, let's sit down and figure this out. Do you need help? Do you need something else? How can I help you to get this corrected? And by golly, he should not let a number like that go out. That was just...
Question, are you the only one that saw the number?
I waited a while. He talked about the bills of the city. Go back and look at the tape.
And no one said a word
yeah,
about
and
it.
I think I waited long enough that if someone else had noticed it.
Yeah, I think you're the only one that noticed it. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what's really sad? You may have, I'm not saying it was, but you may have been the only one that read it.
Possibly.
I know there's someone else on the council that gets these packets that does read it as well. We've discussed these problems. Kind of wish he was on the council, actually. But he's not. But again, that's just making the point that, again,
You're talking about our treasurer.
Yeah, city treasurer, John White.
Yeah.
Who's running the show here? It's like no one's running the show. It's on autopilot. And that autopilot gets misconstrued sometimes, and there's nobody watching to put it back on track.
He was begging. He was pleading with that 30% thing,
Yep.
Come on, guys.
Yeah,
We're getting ready
the
to get-
treasurer was, but
The treasurer
the
was.
bigger picture.
Okay.
A typo error, right? A couple reports are off. You guys talked about earlier what you do in one
Right.
here, you're going to do there.
Right.
It all transfers to the bigger picture of, I believe that's how the sewer system got to where it's at. The boss, the mayor, just didn't check things out. You elaborate on that. You've talked about that.
You know,
it's the mindset of the boss. It's just carried down through everyone else. And if he's going to be lackadaisical on things, everybody else.
Well, he admitted to me, and he reneged on it later, but he admitted to me whenever I questioned him several months ago that September 16th, 2025 was the first time he had been to the sewer plant and seen the condition of the lab and such. At that point, he had been mayor for 4.5 years. And why does a leader do that? If you're a general manager of a McDonald's, do you go to make sure that the grill has been scraped and cleaned?
Yeah.
It's not your job to clean it,
No.
but it's your job to make sure the person whose job it is to clean it actually did their job.
Right.
Because if you're the boss and I'm the one responsible for cleaning it, and I get by, this wouldn't be my mindset, but some people would think this way. I got by with it tonight because you didn't look at it. And then tomorrow, because it takes a while after the shift's done.
Right.
Tomorrow, I got something to do after work, and I don't want to clean it again. And I don't want to clean. And before you know it, I've not cleaned it in 2 weeks because you haven't been checking it out.
There's a couple phrases that come to mind. One that I always use
Yes.
is you inspect what you expect.
Right.
And the other one is while the cat's away, the mice shall play.
Oh, yeah, that is true. Yeah, that's a good one.
And
That is a good
that's what we need to have leadership that inspects what they expect. They need to get in there and check things. Do a police ride along.
Yes.
Maybe once a month. Go for a ride along with the police department.
Yes, yes.
Different officer each time, just so you can get a feel for how your officers are interacting with the public. Go to the sewer plant and say, hey, show me around. Show me what's going on. How do you do this? How do you do that? Okay, great. Go out with the street department. Maybe help them shovel some dirt once in a while. But
Put on your jeans and a work shirt,
Yeah.
if not once a week, once every 2 weeks.
yeah,
And go all around the different departments. They spend an hour in the street department or two, go down to the sewer department, and it don't matter if you get dirty.
Go-
Put your hands on the shovel.
go out with the cemetery guys. Jump on a lawnmower and help them mow the lawn. Make sure that, and even if you don't find anything wrong, what's going to happen is for a couple things, when the workers see, hey, the mayor's here. First of all, they're going to be extra cautious to make sure they're doing everything right. Okay, that's how it happens when the boss is around. Right. But they're also going to appreciate that the mayor is showing an interest in what they do, that what they do matters to the man at the top. And that gives a sense of pride to the job.
Yes.
When there's pride in your workmanship, you're going to do
Yep.
a better job because you're proud of it.
Right.
So you feel valued as well. So
But 4.5 years, that's unacceptable.
yeah, and he said that he admitted to me, and this is unfortunately it was prior to me videoing the meetings.
Oh, yeah.
But he admitted to me that was the first time he had been there, and then later on
He reneged.
he said that he had been there before. So.
But if he had, that'd be even worse. If he had, that would make it even worse.
Absolutely.
Because of the condition it was found in.
Yeah, but so if that means it's either A, he hadn't been there in 4.5 years, which is
terrible.
bad, or B, he's been to the sewer plant, saw the lab with dust and raccoon poop all over it, and thought, that's okay.
Which is worse.
Excellent point, Keith. Excellent point.
Yeah.
Because if he comes back, which he has since then, and said, well, no, that wasn't my first time, well, then that's even worse.
Yes, even worse.
It's the culture. That's the word I was looking for earlier.
Yeah.
The culture, the work culture that he has allowed to take hold, in my opinion, is a bad one. Not all. I'm not saying it boils down to all the city workers. Please don't get me wrong.
No.
We have some great workers.
Oh, yeah, very
and I
good.
know some of them. I've talked to some of them, but I'm talking about at the upper level. It boils down. It goes from him to the department heads, and from what I've seen, it's one department head in particular, Aaron Tipser, and then the thing with the clerk. If the clerk needs help, get him help.
Get him up.
Mr. Mayor, get him help. Don't just let this stuff keep going on that's wrong. Fix it, because it's just going to get worse. And we brought up him going out once a week or every 2 weeks. What would you say to someone that would say, well, he maybe he just doesn't have the time? I know what I would say.
Yeah, I know.
Well, apparently he does because he's not looking at this other stuff.
Make the time.
Make the time.
Make the time.
Make the time. But I would also say, well, he's not doing what he's supposed to be doing in the office either.
There's 4 departments in the city? There's streets and alleys.
Yeah.
There's parks and cemetery, water and sewer, utilities, and police.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And then I guess 5 departments if you consider administrative. He's in the office every day, so count that one out. That's 4 days a month that he needs to go out from the office
Even if,
and visit those departments and say, hey, show me what's going on. Mm-hmm. Just do it. It's important. And you know what? If he would do that, people would have so much more appreciation for him. Seeing the mayor out shoveling, whenever there's work to be done.
Right.
Seeing him with a shovel in hand is going to win him so much goodwill with the people.
And I don't know how much time he does spend in the office. I don't believe he's there 8 hours a day. I might be wrong on that, but I don't believe he is. At least the days that I've seen in the past. And maybe it's not really a full-time position. At least the pay isn't for a full-time position. I understand that, but you know what? With the condition that things are in now, maybe it is. Maybe you donate some of your time.
Well, it's a $30,000 a year salary position, and if you can't devote full time to it, he's retired.
That's what I meant by donate some of your time. Though.
Yeah.
Make it full time if you're not doing it full time. That was the point. Not stay over necessarily.
Whoever has that center seat needs to devote full time, 40 hours a week to the position.
And maybe once you get everything running smoothly,
right.
Right.
Yeah. So okay. So treasurer's report. He spoke a lot about and agreeing with you that the city needs some sort of electronic timekeeping system because it has become a pattern with the city that we are 30% over with overtime. Normal time to over 30%. That's
a lot of money.
It is a tremendous amount of money. And one example was a police officer. I don't know who the police officer was. They didn't name this individual, and it doesn't matter. Police, they serve a vital function in our community, and we need to hire some officers. But one police officer, in a 2-week period of time, logged 69 hours of overtime. That's tremendous.
Well, let's say you make $20 an hour. What's overtime?
Overtime is at least 30.
It'd be 30, yeah.
But if it's on a Sunday, it's double time.
Oh.
If it's on a holiday, it's double time.
Let me give everybody one example here.
Okay.
Last activity monthly to date. This is on that report I was talking about earlier where you've got all the individual expenses. Salaries and wages for police, $42,723. Overtime, $18,800. You want to do the math on that?
Oh, well, that's a lot.
That's
That's more than
45%.
Yeah, that's
61.
more than 30%, much more. Streets and alleys, but then you got double time in there and you got part time in there. The part timers are keeping. This is the summer help that we have for the high school students, so that's going to keep the overtime down. But you got to wonder how much of that part time pay. When the part timers leave, I'd have to go back and look at the months that they're not there. How much of that develops into overtime? But we have $18,000 in salaries and wages. And then we have $10,000 in the part-time labor for that department. So that's the 40-some percent. That's a huge number for one department. Here's a water department number. It's 20,000. This percentage is down, but it's still high in my opinion. This is just the water, not the sewer. The water department is 20,600 and overtime 6,500. Again, the treasurer gave the numbers. Overall, it's about 30% that we pay for that, and that should be. To
me, that's mismanagement.
Even if you got to hire somebody else.
That's mismanagement because the uppers should be like you're saying, the head of each department should be making sure. Somebody said the other day that if you're mowing and the guy loses track time, the head of that department says, "Hey, time to go home."
Mm-hmm. And someone used that as an example. I don't know if it was a true anecdote, if that's actually happened.
Right, it might.
Yeah, but in any case, the whole overtime thing needs to be kept in check, even if it means hiring somebody else, right?
Right.
Or you got to figure out why the overtime's there, then you try to fix it. And I doubt that it's being addressed.
No, and I think
like
time cards would solve a lot of problems there. Not all, but
you
would solve.
wonder. Yeah. Yep.
So, another thing he mentioned, and you discussed with him, was the existence of the cemetery perpetual fund. These records go back so long that they don't know how much in the perpetual fund is the perpetual amount, meaning the amount that was initially deposited, that is considered a perpetual amount, meaning they cannot cut into it for any reason. It must stay in that department. And they could spend the interest from that account for that department and that department only. So they indicated that these accounts have been open since sometime in the mid-1940s, early 1940s.
Is that when they said that the accounts were open, or when did the cemetery open?
See, that's what they said. 1940s, the cemetery opened, but there's plots there that are older.
I didn't understand it. You're right. Yeah. So I don't know if that person had their dates, or maybe I misunderstood. But the point is, it goes back a long way.
Yeah. So Don Brewer made the suggestion that it could be in the minutes somewhere during a council meeting back that far.
It could be.
And that someone should do the research to look into that. I don't know who she was suggesting to do the research, but here's our solution. You and I discussed it earlier. I'm going to send a FOIA request for records to force the city's hand to do that research.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then when we find out how much is perpetual versus how much is not, and if there are no records indicating that's perpetual, then there may be a mechanism for the city to no longer classify it as perpetual, so they can actually use those funds.
Yeah, it's an open fund.
Yeah, and they can use it for beautifying the cemetery, paying for staff in the cemetery and such, and alleviate some of the burden on the general fund.
Right.
And to be fair to the people that are in charge now, it's no one's fault who is in those positions now, the treasurer or the mayor. It's not their fault, because this goes back many, many years.
It goes back way before the time of Ron Waldrop on the council, which was a long time ago.
Well, we think it does. We don't know when the perpetual fund was, when it was designated perpetual. But here, this goes back to what we were talking about earlier. At some point in time, somebody didn't do something right by maintaining the records of a perpetual fund, and look what happened. Now it's out of hand, and nobody knows.
Yeah, we don't know how much of that fund we can spend and how much we can't.
600 thousand. Is that the number that's in there?
600,000.
Okay. Can we spend, how much of that is the principal? 100,000, 200, 500? We don't know. And if we begin to spend that money out of there, at what point do we have to stop? And we had a long discussion about this.
It was.
It's longer than I thought we needed to have.
Yeah.
The point is, Mr. Mayor, somebody needs to figure this out. And let's if we're going to designate it perpetual, you have to have a number. You have to. It's
entirely possible that the way compound interest works, that if this fund was established in the 1940s, maybe it was established with $50,000.
Could have been.
And then there's $550,000+ in that account that's able to be used.
And they're probably not going to be able to find the exact number. So I actually think the good idea is what you just mentioned, is not to have it a perpetual fund.
Yeah. Or they could deem some of it as a perpetual fund and start it that way moving forward. Say $100,000 or whatever. Or whatever number that they
whatever they come up with.
Now, see, if you and I were on the council together, I would object to that, because then you're just picking an arbitrary number. It's either you know what it is or you don't. And if you don't, find out through the state, I guess, legal means, find out through legal means if you can go ahead and just not deem it perpetual any longer.
True.
I would not agree with just picking an arbitrary number.
Okay, that's fair.
But you know what? if it was voted that way, that we decided to pick an arbitrary number, then we vote for it, and if it gets voted in, it's over and done with. We had a logical debate back and forth,
Yep.
and we move on to the next thing.
Absolutely.
But
Yep.
anyway, it's
That's
not how
the
things
way
are done.
adults govern.
Yeah.
Not
So-
3-year-olds. Okay. Sorry.
Okay, so that was pretty well the conversation with the treasurer's report. Guys, I'm going to take a break at this point. I think it's time for a bathroom break. We've been talking for over an hour, so okay. So we're back from the bathroom. That was needed. So next up on the agenda was actually public comments, but the mayor chose to do that early in the order of things, which
did.
that's fine.
I actually don't mind that.
Under new business, there was a second reading of the annual appropriations ordinance, and based upon what you had already brought up during the meeting before the meeting, they went with the lower amount that was originally read in the June meeting.
Right. But the ordinance itself, the way it's typed up, had
The new amounts,
the
yes.
new amount.
Yep.
And so we're expecting them, and they said they would change it to the lower amount that was read last month.
Yes. Yeah. So
The lawyer said it has to be that way.
it has
The
to
lawyer
be.
said we had to pass it. Oh, you're right,
He
because
said something.
the new number had been posted, right.
Yep, yep.
But I'm just saying that we were voting on an ordinance, that the ordinance in front of us had the number that had not been posted.
Right.
And I would have thought when he asked for a motion on that ordinance that he would have said at this amount, but
Yeah, but anyway, at any rate, the council did approve that unanimously. And up next, we had a presentation. A young man, I say young man, he may well be 30 years old. I don't know.
So that's still a young man.
But correct, compared to us, especially compared to you.
Oh, well.
I'm the youngest at the table after all. So from Milano and Grunlow, I hope I'm saying that correctly, an engineering firm, and it was about an ITEP sidewalk presentation. So the city had previously applied for a grant through the Illinois Department of Transportation and missed it. It did not qualify. There's a scoring algorithm they use, and apparently the city scored 70 on it, and we needed to score 73
You're correct.
to get the
look.
grant.
Oh,
Yep.
wow, we got this thing.
And so they're going to reapply. They're changing the scope of the work for sidewalks. And apparently also another thing has changed, that the amount that the city could be awarded has increased from a maximum of $3 million to a maximum of $5 million. Now, that sounds like, sunshine and roses, but there are some things to consider. First of all, we need, enough public support. That is a portion of the scoring algorithm, is how much public support is there for this project. And that we kind of scored low on that, I think, last time. So we're going to work. I've already offered to work with the mayor. I'm going to promote it on my my social media pages, including the news page, to help. And he did thank me for that. And he said that he would reach out to me with information when it's time. So I hope he keeps with that, and that I can help the city to get qualified for this grant. But there are potential cost sharing in the grant. So typically it's an 80-20, with the state kicking in 80% and the city, local municipality kicking in the 20%. So at a $5 million project level, that means the state would kick in $4 million and the city would have to kick in $1 million. But last time we scored high enough on another metric, and I believe we scored 53, and the necessary cutoff was 48, so that we would have, had we qualified for the full grant, we would have qualified for a zero cost sharing, a community score. Right. So that would have been 100 to 0. So the state would have paid 100%. So if we do that again, and the individual from the engineering firm says that he doesn't believe there's any reason we wouldn't still qualify for that, because the census remains the same, then a $5 million job would be paid fully by the state grant, and the city would have to shoulder none of that burden. So that's good. I'm going to get into more of the information on this, and I'm going to do some research, and I'm going to hopefully work with the mayor to promote this so that our city can get, upwards of $5 million of free sidewalk repair done. That would be good. That'd be fantastic for the community. Yeah. So, and he did indicate that he would work with me on that. So, kudos to the mayor and putting aside personal differences and doing what's right for the city. And I hope he sticks to that.
And there's no cost to this grant. The people who are writing the grant are doing it for free. It's just that they would get the job if it's awarded.
Correct.
So we don't pay them any money up front. We don't pay them a percentage of the grant. At least that's the way I understand it.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's different than a lot of the grants that we have written for us where if we're awarded a grant, the company that wrote the grant gets 7%, I believe.
Well,
in this case, they just get.
I reached out to them about that, and the city pays them an annual stipend. I think $2,500. This is the Greater Wabash Planning.
Yeah, different issue than what we're talking about.
Yeah, and what they do is they explain to me that the grants that they apply for the city, that there is money set aside to pay for the administrative portion, like for applying for the grant. So if the city is awarded $1 million, that their portion doesn't come out of that million. There's an additional portion that's set aside to pay for the grant writer.
Right. But it's still a percentage of the million. They get a percentage of the grant.
But it doesn't come out of the million.
Well, where it comes from, I would concede that point to you, but I'm saying it's still a percentage.
That's according to what the person from Greater Wabash Planning told me. Okay. So, and provided their information is accurate, then it doesn't actually come out of the city's portion of the money. So that would be good. So, and because we had thought before that it was the other way, that it would, like if it was 7%, the city would get $930,000 out of that million, and they would get the other 70%.
Yeah, but they're still getting $70,000.
Yeah, but I think it's from a separate fund, not from the actual grant, from the actual money for the city that's awarded to the city. But that's the way it was explained to me by them. So,
just agree, Dwayne. Just agree.
Yeah, I think we're agreeing. We are agreeing.
Yeah.
Do we need to agree some more?
Yeah.
We can agree for another 30 minutes. If you want. So,
next up was the streets department. The motor fuel tax resolution, the city and the council voted unanimously to appropriate $300,000 from the motor fuel tax to help pay for the approximately $296,000 or $297,000 in projected repairs and maintenance on our city streets. So
what fund does that come out of? I couldn't. This was. I
don't know, but I understand Keith is lining his pockets with that. So,
I couldn't help myself. Man,
it's late. Okay.
Next up was they opened bids for the property that the city has obtained some time ago and put up for sale, and that was the piece of property at 1403 8th Street. There were 2 bids submitted, one for $500 from a couple who lived next to that plot of property, and then there was another one for $750. That was Mitch Mikowitz and his wife. They bid $750. The council voted. You actually put the motion forward to accept their bid,
and it was passed.
And so congratulations to the Mikowitzes for winning that bid. And what he has explained he wants to do with that property sounds pretty cool. He's wanting to start like a community garden. So for people who have food scarcity and such, they'll be able to access that. Right. It could be a good thing for the town. I think it could be good. So congratulations to them for that. Next up is old business. There was a side-by-side discussion and possible ordinance adoption. Or if you remember last month.
We'll cover that.
Yep.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. Water rate discussion. We did not cover that. Thank you.
Yeah.
Water rate discussion.
Who's running this show?
No, I don't know.
It's Keith's fault.
It's my fault.
So, Troy Water District purchases water from the city of Lawrenceville.
Yes.
So the city of Lawrenceville, their contract with them has been up for some time, and we're going to be renegotiating that contract. Mm-hmm. And the city needs to make sure that we're going to be charging an appropriate rate, cost of, producing the water, treating the water and such has gone up over time. Cost of chemicals, the chlorine and such has gone up. So they're going to do a water rate study. We're going to have our accounting firm Kemper to do a water rate study to determine what would be an appropriate rate to charge for that. And then, of course, that would have to be voted on by the council. And also it would have to be approved by the Petrolia Water District, whatever governing body they have, before an agreement is finally
Just so I
reached.
don't make sure this is correct, I thought you said they make the water. God makes the water. I just want to make sure.
He made it a long time
right.
ago.
Just want to make sure you knew that. Okay.
Yes, I realized. Yes. Thank you, Preacher Keith.
You're welcome.
So anyway, we'll find out in the coming months how that's going to work out. But anyway, on the old business, side-by-side discussion and possible ordinance adoption. The reason this had to appear on the agenda again, if people recall, last month the council voted 3-3. There were 2 members absent. 3-3 to adopt a new ordinance to allow side-by-sides. The mayor cast a tie-breaking vote. So the vote was 4-3 to add side-by-sides to the golf cart ordinance. It's clearly something the mayor does support.
Now
He did not in the
I'd
past.
be interested to know what changed his mind.
Yep. But he did change his mind. So Thursday night, the council voted 5-3 against. The people who voted for it, Dwayne Volkman, Russell Goins, and Bob Hedge.
Yeah.
So remember, in the next election, if you wanted side-by-sides, remember every other council member voted against it. If you don't want side-by-sides, you remember the 3 who voted for it, if it's that important to you.
Right.
Next up was discussion about a vac truck, vacuum/jet truck, and possible action on that. And the city had found a used, a pre-owned unit for was it $375,000, and it was discussed that they would take out a loan. It was amortized over 10 years at an interest rate of 4.75%. Locked in for 5 years at that rate. Of course, it would go into an adjustable rate after that, I'm assuming. And you suggested that the city has enough money in CDs for the water and sewer department to pay cash for it.
Yeah, more than
And I remember Don Brewer just said, well, the committee just didn't want to do that. And it's the committee doesn't decide that. The committee makes recommendations and the council decides. And
but the rest of the council won't think for themselves. Some of them, I don't want to take away from Mr. Hedge. He's put thought into some of this to his council activities, and he's met with us and he's met with our group. So I don't want to include him in that group. But why wouldn't anyone else question how we were financing it? You can finish what you have to say, but I want to explain my vote because I've already been questioned by a couple people who do support me on most everything, as to why I voted for it, even after what you have to say, Louie.
Well, I thought we did the math on it, and in just the first 5 years, the city's going to pay $235,920 back on that loan.
But it's a 10-year loan, so what's the total?
So if that rate holds true for the remaining 5 years, they're going to pay $471,840 back on a $375,000 loan.
Yes.
So the council voted to pay an additional $96,000, almost $97,000 in interest. Now, here's the thing: I sell cars, and I sell to people from all walks of life, people who are financially not very strong, and I sell to some people who are very wealthy. And what I've always noticed from the people who have an amount of wealth that they could write a check for a vehicle. For example, I was just negotiating with a gentleman Saturday that if he could get 0% interest, his investments are outpacing the interest on the loan. Even if he got a low, like 1.9%, his investments are outpacing the interest on that loan. So he's going to use someone else's money to make that purchase.
Right.
That's smart. But in the situation with the city of Lawrenceville, the interest on the loan is outpacing the interest we're currently earning on CDs.
Right.
And I say currently earning because those CDs are reinvested every 6 months to a year. And with the Federal Reserve, dropping interest rates, and not fast enough, but they've been dropping interest rates. The amount of interest we're going to earn on these CDs is going to get lower and lower and lower,
right.
which means the spread between what we're earning and what we're paying grows. It is
Losing.
It is not good stewardship.
No.
It's funny because you brought that up in your sermon this morning about stewardship. It's not good stewardship of the people's money to spend it stupidly, to use a word from our president. Stupidly. It is not smart. Pay cash, and you had a great suggestion. Buy it cash, and then every month make that payment.
Yeah,
like
act
you're
as if you
into a savings.
financed it, and if that way you replenish the cash that you use to buy it with, you're going to replenish it
Right.
in less than 10 years.
Yeah.
And you're not paying interest. I just don't understand.
You'll replenish
You
that.
have the money, and what was the reason that they gave for doing it their way?
I thought
Remember?
she said that's just what we decided. I
Yeah,
don't.
pretty much. Yeah. I've heard the rationale in the past used because I think it was discussed last month or the month before. Well, we just need to have money left in the rainy day fund. Well, it's a rainy day now. And we should use that rainy day money to pay for this thing that we have the money for, and then build up your rainy day fund again. We've had that money. We've had a lot of money in these CDs for many, many, many years. I've had people who are. I've actually, spoken to people who are in the investment world,
Right.
attorneys, friends that I've had, and they're like, "Why in the world does your town have $1.5 million just sitting there when you could be using it for things like keep taxes lower, things like this? But no, we're going to go out and finance something when we have the money to buy it cash." I don't understand it.
But it's
Well,
already
the thing-
been done, though. I
Well, yeah,
understand.
and I want to explain my vote. You're right.
But you get into you have rainy days because you do things like this.
Right.
Yeah, that's
When you're going to do
Yeah.
something that causes the city to have to spend $96,000 more than they need to do, then that causes more rainy days. Your roof is leaking, and
So let's round it up 10 grand more, roughly.
10 grand a year.
I mean,
yeah.
100,000, roughly $100,000 more over 10 years, right? That's 10 grand a year, right?
Yeah.
Almost $1,000 a month. We're just going to be paying in interest. But what's that? Actually, $800 and some dollars, right? I don't understand it.
Yeah, almost exactly $800.
If you didn't have the money, that's one thing.
But we do.
You got it.
But you add that $800 a month in interest on a purchase that we did not need to incur interest on.
Actually, it's going to be right at exactly.
Yeah, and then you add that to the late fees that we get for not paying our bills on time.
Yeah.
And it was just bad stewardship of the money. Another thing is I noticed that the loan
The overtime.
is through, and I don't know how many banks were solicited for the loans,
Yeah.
but the loan is being done through a bank where there are familial connections to members of city management. And I hope that they shopped it around and that they were the lowest offer. I hope so. But also, it's an unsecured loan.
Which is good, though.
It's good
Well,
if the city plans on defaulting.
Oh, well, okay. Yeah.
But if the city doesn't plan on defaulting, which I hope they don't plan on
I hadn't
defaulting,
thought about this point. Yeah.
then they probably would have gotten preferential interest rates had they provided the truck as security for the loan.
Right.
Because the bank feels safer.
Right.
They get the warm and fuzzy feeling because hey, worst case scenario, we repossess this vehicle and we can sell it to recoup some of our money. So we're going to give you a half a point or a 1 point, break on your interest. It saves money.
That's a valid point, and we don't know the answer to that.
We don't know.
But it's a valid point, valid question. But it's we're not going to get that
Nope.
answer.
No, we're not. No, we're not.
But let me explain my vote then. First of all, the idea of having this vac truck, which is, you want to explain what it's used for, Louie?
Yeah, as from what I understand, it's used for a number of different things. First of all, if they're going to, they have to dig a hole somewhere.
Right.
They can use that vac truck to dig the hole at a much faster rate than
They need to
than
dig
manual
down
shovels.
to the water line.
Yeah, they can do it in
Yeah.
5 or 6 minutes compared to several hours of man hours,
Right.
Which is going to save the city
Because they're
money.
using pressurized water as a jet.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And then they've got suction there to
And the
suction
vacuum
the
suction,
sucks
mist.
right,
yeah, and it takes minutes versus hours,
Right.
which is
Okay.
good.
Okay.
Also, with the jet portion of it, using only the jet portion and not the vacuum portion, when there are clogged sewer lines, they can send a powerful jet of water down those lines, and it can clear several blocks, two
Yes.
blocks or so of obstructions in the sewer lines, and it's going to make for easier maintenance of our sewer collection system, which the city has been failing on for a number of years. We haven't been keeping up with our CMOM for years. This will allow us to do a better job of that.
Right. And then the suction will suck out some of the debris. Now, we had a jet truck before.
But it wasn't
What
taken
happened
care
to
of.
that, even according to the comments that some city workers made at council meetings?
Well, they said they left it out.
It was
not serviced in the winter, meaning wasn't winterized.
Right.
Right.
It froze, cracked some.
That goes
equipment.
back to the mismanagement.
So it can't
and
produce
whose
the pressure.
responsibility was that?
Aaron
That-
Tipsword.
that- There you go. Okay. So we're buying a truck. Now, that was not a vacuum truck, but it was a jetter truck, right?
It could have been used as a trade-in if it was still good
Could
and
have been
working
used
order.
as a trade-in too. So for those of you that support Aaron for reasons other than personal loyalty,
Right.
we're not going to get past that.
Don't
Let's
vote for
just-
someone based upon whether you would have a beer with them.
Right. But we're not going to get past the personal loyalty thing.
No.
No.
Okay. So for those of you that have maybe not made up your mind about whether or not the city should be still be employing this man, if your reasons for that are not based on personal loyalty, here's one more reason on your checklist of reasons to get rid of him. Anyway, the reason I did my vote. So we know we've explained what a jetter vacuum truck is, right?
Right.
We haven't had one for a long time. We have never had a jet or vac truck, but we still have had to have lines cleaned out occasionally. And what do? When we have that done? We hire somebody
service it
else.
out.
Hire someone out.
Right, we're paying money for that. So, who first brought up the idea of buying a truck like this?
It was a member of our group.
Member of our group.
Yeah.
Okay.
And through you, so you brought it up, I believe, at a council meeting
Yeah, it's been a
to
while
do so.
back, yeah.
But it was a member of our group, our super secret meeting society,
Right. Yes.
that brought it up. Yeah.
So, and I'm pretty much the outcast on the city council from the eyes of the majority of the rest of the council members and certainly of the mayor.
Mm-hmm.
So we brought it up just like a lot of other things that we've got implemented from public pressure. And then sometimes it's been out of pure embarrassment, I believe, that we've been able to get things accomplished. Citywide cleanup.
Oh yeah. Right.
You know, our
Yeah.
group got that reinstated,
Yeah.
and the mayor and the committee that was in charge of the contracts, they didn't want to reinstate that because of the cost. At least they didn't want to do it at the time that we wanted it done, but we got it done. So we brought up the idea of the truck. I guess there was enough pressure, and they saw the need for it after we continued to bring it up because this has been brought up a long time ago. But I would not have done this purchase. But the reason I voted yes for this is at least we're getting a truck.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would not have. If I were in charge of the committee that was searching for this,
We
or if
wouldn't
I were
even do
even the
that.
mayor, I would be doing it differently. First of all, I don't. There's no warranty. I asked if there's a warranty. What did the mayor say?
They said they're not going to leave us hanging.
Okay, that's not in writing.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, and he specified it's not in writing. It's just a verbal
Right.
promise, and you know, at some point it becomes a business decision that the person who sold it to us says, you guys are on your own.
Basically.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
And I like to play, pardon this preacher, devil's advocate
Oh, yeah,
occasionally.
yeah.
Okay. There are going to be people. There are people out there that are going to say, "Well, then why didn't you get involved in the decision process?" Because the more I get involved, the more it pushes
Push
them
back.
away. So we got them to at least consider it. Then I just kind of take a back seat to it, let them figure out the best thing to do, And it's called compromise. I felt like I was making a compromise by at least getting the truck. I would not have financed it this way. I would not have.
You might have gotten a new truck.
Might have gotten a new truck, yeah. And yep. Well, I'll mention that here in a second. I don't know that I would have settled for something with no warranty. I think I'm a pretty good negotiator. I might be the only one on the council, I think, that have had businesses, at least to the extent that I've had. I've done a lot of negotiating over the years. I've made some bad deals too, but no warranty. $375,000 Anyway, yeah, and again, and you're financing it at an interest rate more than what the money you could buy it for or buy it with is getting an interest. Makes no sense, but at least we got a truck. So that's why I voted for it, and it was going to pass whether I voted for it or not. I could have made a symbolic vote of no.
But
I could have done that, and I could have said, "Well, I didn't vote for it because of the people that asked me this, they asked with good intentions. I had a couple of them ask me. They weren't being accusatory, they weren't being ugly about it, and I appreciate and respect that they even asked me about
Right,
it.
yeah.
And I could have made a symbolic vote to satisfy that thought process.
But why?
But yeah, I don't think I don't want to be a career politician. I don't have any aspirations of politics other than local city council. So I'm not going to play those kind of games. I thought I was compromising. We needed trucks, so I voted yes. So does that explain?
Yeah.
Or that's, either way, I was going to have to explain to people, because if I'd voted no, I was going to have to explain to people in our group that wanted a truck why I voted no. So I voted the way that I thought was the most logical, which included making a compromise.
So next up was consider monetary donation to Destiny Rescue to fight child trafficking. The council actually had some discussion about this, chose to direct the donation to the One Cause Mission, which is based in Vincennes, Indiana. They do work with Destiny Rescue, but they are more locally based, and all of their efforts are focused here in the United States, which is good. So the council did vote almost unanimously for that.
Right. Only one voted against it.
Russell Goins voted against it. And this month I didn't see the same, attitude when he said no. But last month when he said no, you just saw. Can you see sometimes when someone says something, they say it with hatred in their heart?
Oh, of course. Yeah.
And that's what I saw. And I hate that, because one of the first times he ever spoke to me was whenever he come up and congratulated me for conceding the election to Teresa Green like a gentleman. And I thanked him for that. And I thought, wow, I'm going to have a good working relationship with this guy. And it's not turned out to be that way.
No.
He's advocated for violating my First Amendment rights, and that's discouraging and disheartening. So, anyway, department head reports. There were no reports. Historically, Aaron Tipsworth had been at the council meetings. He's been absent for many, many months.
Oh, yeah, for at least 3.
He showed up a couple times in the last year, but he's really stopped. The more pressure we put on the mayor to level some accountability against Aaron, the less Aaron has showed up at these meetings. Which I wouldn't want to show up if people were saying bad things about me, but
I wouldn't either.
it's your job.
No.
It's your job. So just another part of the job that's not being done, in my opinion. Jim White had nothing, he said, of importance to report. He did mention at some point in the meeting that he reminded the council that the assistant chief's retirement is effective next month. That's a Doodle Sight Singer.
Yeah, I do.
So hopefully he's going to go on to good things. I know he said that he wanted to spend more time with his grandchildren. So that's good. Hopefully he gets time to do it. I believe he also resigned from the school board.
Oh, did he?
I think. I'm pretty sure he did for the same reason. So wanting to spend more time with his grandchildren, which I commend that. Next up is council and committee reports. First up on that was a guy by the name of Mr. Volkman. So Volkman, it's German. It means man of the people.
Yes, it does say man of the people.
You schooled me on that.
A little shady, but
Shady man.
Yeah. And You want to share a little bit about what you spoke about?
Well, I don't know now. I think. Yeah, I mean, we talked about I asked the mayor about the BRIC grant, which then he gave an explanation as to why, and we all talked about that earlier. We agree with it. I don't know why he didn't just tell you that when you asked about it. Both
He wanted to get the upper hand.
Yeah, but both in your email, and he could have done that when you were at the podium too, but he chose not to.
Yeah.
The bigger thing that I brought up, you'll talk about FOIA after when you get to.
Yes.
Okay, so the thing that I brought up was about the time clocks.
Yes. Time clocks.
The council voted. I made a motion 2 months ago. 2 months ago in July, so it would have been May, right? The motion was for the subcommittee that handles this to gather information on different ways to electronically monitor, use electronic time clocks, not really to monitor, but to use them for employees to check in and out. And they didn't bring it to the council last month. 2 members were out for whatever reason, I don't know if they're on vacation or whatever, and people are going to miss meetings occasionally. And they didn't bring it again this month. Matter of fact, it wasn't even on the agenda, was it? I don't think it was on the agenda.
No,
at
it was
all.
not, because that's what you said.
Yeah.
Why isn't it?
Oh, yeah, okay. So I asked the committee, Ms. Brewer spoke on behalf of the committee, why we don't have that yet. And she gave 2 reasons. First of all, they haven't had time. And if that's truly it, I can buy that and I can go along with that and I can respect that. But while she was talking, she brought up a second reason, which was, it seemed to me they were researching whether or not it was something that needed to be negotiated with the union, right? I brought that up in my little speech. You have to watch the city council meeting to see what I said exactly. But I said, look, it's been this is now the 3rd month. If it's because you don't have time, that's one thing. But if it's because of the union, that's another. And she admitted that they thought they needed to do some research to see if it needed to be negotiated. I brought up language that I believe covers management in making that decision unilaterally, the decision of how you track and maintain and log work hours.
I have a question for you. Your motion 2 months ago.
Yeah.
Did you make
That's
a
what I was
motion?
getting at.
Did you make a motion that they should research whether the council has the authority to make this decision versus the union, or did you?
No, I did not.
Okay.
And that's the point I was making. And I don't know if they realized I was going to go there, but
Well, the language you showed me, I read too, shows that we don't need to negotiate with.
and I read it, a good part of it, at the meeting. Okay.
Article 5 of the contract.
Article 5 of the contract. But I made the point Thursday night, last Thursday, that I intentionally left a time frame that I out of my motion that would require them to bring back these choices of electronic monitoring of time clocks a certain period of time, because I didn't think it'd get it done in a month anyway, fair given time. But now it appears that one of the reasons it's late is not because they don't have time, but because they don't even know if they can do it. Well, no, the motion already passed, and the motion was, like you said, the subcommittee needs to bring back to the city council as a whole options on electronic timekeeping. Not do research to see if it needs to be negotiated. Okay.
You specifically stated in your motion that you would not accept it was for them to bring forth options, and one of those options could not be not to have it.
Okay.
I
That was
remember
2 months
that.
ago.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, Mr. Dunn, he wants time clocks. He spoke up a little bit about it when he spoke next after I did. But it wasn't, I wasn't trying to get him in a gotcha moment. It was kind of just coming along during the conversation when I realized, hey, this is one of the reasons. She just admitted that's one of the things that they're looking into. No, that's not what the motion was for. Bring us options, and we don't need to, in my belief, in the contract language, I think I can point to it, we don't have to negotiate that. Then the mayor, he admits remember, he admitted it is a management right.
Yes.
But what was the terminology he used?
But he wanted to open it for bargaining.
Bargaining.
Right.
With the union.
Yeah, so you can't.
You can have one or the other, but not both.
Right, because what happens when you bargain something?
You have to give something up to get something.
You're expected to give something
You're
up.
expected to give something up, right?
If you want this, they're going to want this here too, or they're going to want you to want less, one or the other.
Okay, so did we come up with a decision though? Did they come up with a condition?
I believe she said, okay, well then what do you want the committee to do? And I said, bring back the options.
To bring back the options to the
So
council.
that was a long explanation, but man, I'm baffled.
You know what trouble-
Whatever these,
By the
I'm
ignorance.
confused. I'm just like, what?
What can you
The
not
motion
understand?
was, and if you know what, if you're not sure what the motion was,
Ask.
go look on Louis. No, look on his.
Oh yeah, look at the right.
Not
Yeah.
only that, but also she voted for your motion 2 months
Yeah,
ago.
yes,
So
she
she
did.
voted for her committee to bring options to the full council, and
Right.
then she went. And I'm sorry if this offends anyone, but I believe she was trying to circumvent
Yes.
Yes,
the will
that's
of the
my belief.
council.
That's my
The will of
belief.
the council was spoken unanimously. Was it unanimously? I think maybe Goins voted against it.
Yeah, it might have been one. Yeah, but
To
it
not
passed.
bring those options. But it did pass, and that
Right.
was the will of the council, and
Right.
she should go along with the will of the
Right.
council.
Instead of just your personal feelings as a little group here to go against everyone else.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and don't do it just to make it look like you voted for it and then not do the work.
And not do it right.
Right.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, it was last year sometime that I brought up a motion and it was approved. See, I caught him off guard again and unintentionally, but I made a motion to get Kemper CPA involved in two aspects. Help us come up with an electronic means and do an audit. Okay? My motion passed. Do you remember what happened the next
It
month?
passed unanimously.
You know what they did the next month?
They recalled it.
They recalled it because they realized, I don't know why they recalled it. You'd have to ask them, I guess. But there's just so much pushback on this. It's timekeeping. If you own a business, you're the boss. You're going to tell your employees how you're going to keep time.
Not the other way around.
Right.
But it's
I'm not
funny.
going to ask you do you want to use this time clock or you want to just write it down on paper?
I'll just write
What
it
do
down.
you prefer?
I'll just write it down.
Okay.
It's also
We'll do it
interesting
your way.
that during some crosstalk between some side talk between you and Russell Goins, he suggested that the contract does cover it, and he suggested read Article 1.
Okay.
I did read Article 1.
I did not, admittedly.
And
But hang on, Article 5 says management rights. Go ahead with Article 1.
Article 1 does not cover that at all. It does not cover time clocks. It covers conditions of employment. So, for example, if you have a felony, you can't work for the city. That is a condition of employment. That is something the union has the sole negotiating power on behalf of the employees to
Right.
negotiate with the city on for that. That is a condition of employment. You must be able to pass a drug test. Well, cannabis being legal in the state of Illinois, the union has the right to negotiate that with the city because that is a condition of employment. But methods for timekeeping is not a condition of employment.
No, it's not.
It's a method for doing the job. And
Right.
the city management has the sole authority, according to Article 5 of the contract, to determine that.
Yes.
So, Mr. Goins, you are wrong about that.
Yep.
And I don't understand why they would why would you, even if you thought the contract in some way might have said that, and you're in the position you are in, which is on the city council, I would think you're going to find every way to reclaim that right. You want to be able to decide how time is going to be kept.
Absolutely. You know,
But he's going out of his
it's
way
a
to
common
find
theme. It's a common theme that you and I and others have discussed. Mr. Goins seems to act as though he represents the union instead of the people who live in his ward.
In his ward, right? He's more concerned
has-
about the union than he is, it seems, than his own.
He has a legal obligation to represent the people who live in his ward. Now, unless every single resident in his ward is a member of this union, then his priorities really seem, in my opinion, to be misplaced.
Yes.
right. And that's not to belittle, demean, or take away from unions.
Of course not.
I retired from
No,
the
yeah,
union
that's not-
job. But the union has paid representatives to fight for them.
You were a member of the same union, weren't you?
Yes,
Okay.
I was a member of AFSCME.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I wanted my AFSCME rep to do everything he could to represent me well. Mm-hmm. But I didn't expect the warden of the facility. I expected him to be fair, but I didn't expect him to represent me on union issues.
Yep.
That's the job of my union representative.
Right. Yeah.
The situation is now, and again, Mr. Goins was formerly a member of the same union, and his loyalties, in my opinion, seem to be with the union as opposed to the residents in his ward. But he needs to understand that you can be polite, you can be kind, but he has an adversarial relationship with that union because he's supposed to fight for what's good for the city and the residents of the city, and the union is supposed to fight to get as much as they can for the employees.
That's how it's supposed to be.
And
And
again,
if the language supports the position that I've voiced many times now, and that Mr. Dunn believes is correct, I believe Mr. Hedge believes it, and
John White.
City Treasurer
And John White.
and the mayor,
John White.
the mayor even
The
agreed
mayor
with you.
admitted management right, but then he kind of backtracked, so who knows where he stands for sure. But he did say it's management's right. So I don't.
And
I
but
don't understand
back to John White real quick. He was pleading. We got to do something, and he was referring to time, something to, but do with time. We got to do something here, you know.
Exactly, and why? Well, we haven't explained that. We've explained it in the past, but we haven't explained it here.
overtime.
Not only that,
Yeah.
right now we're doing handwritten timesheets.
Yes.
And until a few months ago, just single number times of how many, numbers of how many hours you worked that day. I got them to begin to put their beginning and end time. Some still don't do that.
But what were they doing in those hours, right?
Well,
No.
yeah, a little bit
No,
of a
I meant
description
where
if it
were-
was outside of if it was overtime.
Right.
But the point, the reason that we need to make that electronic is handwritten, if for no other reason, I'm not accusing anyone of cheating the system. If for no other reason, it takes less time and labor to add up those hours, and it eliminates the possibility of human error.
Right.
Yep.
And we've shown human error on those cards.
Here's a phrase I like from Benjamin Franklin. Maybe some people have heard of him. Beware of little expenses. A small leak will sink a great ship. And the overtime that we're spending with the city
It's gonna
is
sink?
not a small expense.
No.
It's significant.
It is significant.
Our city will go bankrupt.
You realize
if
that's
we let-
over 25%, meaning 25% is a lot. This is
It's
30%.
It's huge.
If the member, go ahead.
It's huge. So it's a significant amount of money, and this city will go bankrupt
And then wonder why.
if they leave it unchecked.
If they leave it unchecked, right.
So, and proper, of course, the city isn't a business, but it is a corporation, and it should maybe be ran like a business in some aspects.
You manage it like a
Yeah,
business.
Right.
So you can't improve something if you can't track it.
They're not.
They
tracking
need
anything.
to track it so that they can figure out where it needs to be improved, and then to put plans into place to improve it.
Right.
You know,
Right.
and it would save. There's so much mismanagement, in my opinion, that's
Right.
going on with this city.
Well,
And
it's
maybe it doesn't. Maybe it gets to the point where it doesn't need improved.
right.
But you still need written procedures. You still need the most efficient way of getting a job done.
Yeah,
What does efficiency do for a company or a city or an organization? What does it do?
it saves people's money.
That's what he got right off the bat.
Yeah.
It saves money. And usually when you're using the most efficient way of doing something, it's usually the best way. Now, sometimes you might have to do something that's not quite as efficient to get it done right. And there are exceptions. But find the most efficient way of doing something and then have it documented how it's being done and why it's being done that way, i.e. the perpetual fund. Why don't we have a book in City Hall that says City Cemetery Perpetual Fund records? Why don't we have a book for that somewhere? EJ Water, they're making written. I don't think people understand this. There were limited, if not no, written procedures on how to run that wastewater treatment plant. That's part of what we paid EJ Water to do. Who was in charge? Who was supposed to be doing that?
Aaron Tipsworth.
Aaron Tisford.
Who was Aaron's boss?
David
mayor.
Courtney.
Okay. People in Lawrenceville, if you want good, logical, common sense leadership coming up next year, get out and vote on this April election. And if you want me to stay in, if you like what I'm doing, vote for me. If you don't like what I'm doing, then don't vote for me. But I hope either way you vote, you're going to do it based on looking at where I and maybe my opponent, whoever that might be, stand on various issues, and not whether you like one of us over the other. Same way with Louie. Same way with other people that we're going to get to run in the other wards. We just want this city to run. How do we want it to run, Louie?
Efficiently.
Efficient. And common sense.
Honestly. With integrity.
And transparency.
And no, what's the other two words?
No nepotism, no cronyism.
Okay.
Oh,
That's
anyway.
Yeah.
we kind of went off track there, didn't we? Then what else? That one dash. What was that, Louie? What was that?
It was the ordinance regarding where the mayor can require people to give their name and their address in order to address the council.
Right.
And you brought up why it wasn't on the agenda, and the mayor said, "I'm fairly aware that I can't ask people for their address." But the
No, he
ordinance,
said I'm very aware, right?
I thought it was said fairly.
I think he said I'm very aware. Yeah.
So anyway, in either case,
Okay, so let's
the
make
ordinance still states that they shall do it.
Yeah, so let's change
So
that.
we need to change the ordinance because the next mayor, whoever that may be, may not be aware of the
will know.
the attorney general's opinion on
Right,
this.
so you will know.
Yeah,
1-2-13 was the ordinance.
yeah. So change it so it coincides with state law.
Give a quick little bit of history of this. For as many years as I've been on the council, going back to I think 2017-ish, somewhere in there, never had a mayor ask anyone for their address.
No.
And it's happened a couple of times in the last few months. Okay. We have our own opinions. I don't know whether you're going to voice them or not. I'm not going to voice my opinion, but I have my opinion as to why I think the current mayor, began to ask those things.
I think we all agree, but anyway.
It's the exact reason cited in the public access opinion by the attorney general that it tends to chill participation in the public process because if someone's going to get up and say something and hold a member of the city leadership accountable and their supporters don't like what's being said, if they're going to put their address out there so that everybody knows where they live now, it's a small community. They know where you live.
It quiets the noise.
It does quiet the noise. Yeah.
Yeah. And why, if you know you're not supposed to do it, which he admitted at this meeting,
He did.
why don't you change the rule then? It goes back to if you let something little continue to be done wrong, or that little thing just stays by itself wrong, 10, 15, 20 years down the road, like you said, somebody else gets in there and they're not aware of it, and it's a whole nother issue again.
Yep.
Now we got another fight about it.
And what if, there's this thing, this movement online called First Amendment auditors. They go to communities and they'll videotape and they'll basically audit how well a city does at upholding a person's First Amendment rights or their constitutional rights. What if one of these First Amendment auditors come to the city 10, 15 years from now, there's a different mayor, and the ordinance hasn't changed, so that mayor is requiring them to give their address, and that person files a federal lawsuit against the city because it's a violation of their First Amendment right to speak to the council without giving their address. It's a violation of their First and their Fourth Amendment right. First Amendment to address to petition the government for a redress of grievances, and Fourth Amendment to be secure in your documents and your information. So they file a federal lawsuit, and boom, there's $100,000 judgment against the city.
It blows my mind because the mayor and I, this is one of the few things we actually talked about over the phone, and I sent him emails about this. Why he didn't put it? He told me over the phone he's going to have it on the agenda this month,
and he did not.
Why didn't he do it? And I think he knew that the issue needed to be taken care of. He just was going to let it go. Why? I don't understand that.
I think maybe because he goes, I already know. Just didn't want embarrassment. Didn't want to admit that he was wrong. So
Well,
Could be.
I asked him in an email.
He could have forgotten.
he
but
could have forgotten.
maybe
Yeah.
not.
No, I don't think he forgot. But that's my opinion.
It's possible. Yep.
All I know is he told me he was going to be on there.
Unlikely, but possible.
He told me not only he's going to be on there, but he also said, I agree with you. It looks like, it appears at the time of our conversation on the phone, it appears that, that is not in line with the law.
Yep.
And it'll be on the agenda next month.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a state and federal lawsuit. I mean, it's a violation of the Illinois Open Meetings Act. It's a violation of the First and Fourth Amendment to the United States Constitution. It's a problem, and it needs to be changed. So, and I don't think that we need to go through and audit all of our ordinances to find out which ones are in line with law or
when you
not.
find a
But
problem,
as we find them, we should fix them.
Right.
don't ignore it.
That's
And
right.
don't ignore it. Right.
And I asked him, just for the record, for people who are watching this to know, I asked him in an email why he began asking that in the first place, and he would not answer that question. And that's been quite some time ago.
But not answering it answered it.
yeah, you're right.
In my opinion,
point, good point.
so
So there was that, and then I think that was about all I had, right?
Yeah, Mr. Dunn spoke up next in support of the time clocks as well, and he said something. He goes, "It doesn't need to go to the committee. The committee just needs to bring a solution to the full council, so the full council can make the decision. The committee doesn't need to be making these decisions."
He's right.
And he's right. The committee is there to make recommendations to the council, not make decisions. So, for example, like in the situation with purchasing with cash versus a low interest loan, where Don Brewer suggested the council just didn't want to do it. Well, the committee. The committee doesn't make that decision. The committee makes that recommendation.
Right.
The council makes a decision.
Right.
So next up was Mr. Goins, and the only thing he wanted to do, it seemed, was to litigate a FOIA request. A member of the community by the name of Chuck Mattingly submitted a FOIA request for all communications between John White and several members of the community, including a couple state agencies, and also between Dwayne and all of those same individuals and entities.
Yep.
And more. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And the fact is that I'm one of the people on that list of communications they wanted. Now, here's the thing. Everything that you and I have talked about through text or email that is directly related to the transaction of public business is 100% subject to freedom of information. That is the people's right to know.
Yep.
And we support that fully. However, you purchased a truck from me recently. Okay. All of our communications regarding the purchase of that truck is not subject to FOIA because that is
Not admissible.
That is a private business matter.
Right.
And he
We've
used.
talked about Keith behind his back.
Yes, yeah.
You mean Gavin's brother?
Right. They do it all the time.
So, but he cited as an example, as a what he thought as a precedent-setting example, that when I FOIA requested the mayor's communications with certain people, that the mayor, they provided it, almost 5,000 pages worth of the emails.
But you didn't ask for any private citizens.
No private citizens. However, I'm gonna go ahead and let the cat out of the bag.
Go ahead.
So
Go ahead.
It took months. It's supposed to take 5 days to get a response. Months for the city to get the information to me. So I think about 2 months into it, or a month and a half into it, I reported them to the Illinois Attorney General's office for violating Freedom of Information.
Right. Yeah.
And I had the occasion to speak to the bureau chief of the Public Access Bureau, which is the Public Access Counselor's Office of the Illinois Attorney General. They are the ones in charge of enforcing the Sunshine Laws, which are Freedom of Information Act and the Open Meetings Act. And he told me that the length, all of the communications that I'd asked for was overly burdensome and not in the public interest because it was overly burdensome. And he asked me if I wanted him to issue an opinion on it. I said, nope, just forget about it. We'll see if the city goes ahead and asserts their rights to classify it as overly burdensome or not, or if they go ahead and provide the information. The city chose to provide the information, I believe, because they didn't know they could say that it was overly burdensome, because I know that they have used that excuse or that reason in other FOIA requests with other individuals. I know that they have told me certain things do not pertain to the transaction of public business and have excluded things. They've redacted some things. For example, the mayor and his sister were having a conversation in text message. He sent her an image.
And that
image was redacted was not included in the original results they provided me, the documentation. And she said, "Oh, is this him or is this his dad?"
Oh, yeah.
And his response was, "That is the candidate." Now, it's important to note that during the last election cycle, there is one candidate locally who shared a name with his father.
That would be you.
That was me. It is my belief, I don't have proof, but it is my belief that they were referencing my father's conviction.
Yes.
My father was convicted for sex crimes against a child.
Right.
That was my child.
Yes.
I am the one who had him prosecuted. I'm the one who called the police, checked the police logs the night of January 5th, 2009. I'm the one that called the police. And I participated heavily in that case. I called the prosecutor's office. Her name was Lisa Wade. I called her office daily, and till they told me to stop calling.
Yeah,
so it's bothersome to me that I believe that's what the picture was alluding to. That was me. It wasn't me. I don't have such a charge against me,
no,
or conviction or anything. But they have repeatedly denied my request for that, even though the conversation that they included directly references that photograph, which I believe does make it part of the public record because they're speaking contextually about that photograph.
right.
So anyway, they know that they've learned along the way some of their rights under FOIA.
Well, and how do you think they learned that?
Because of public access counselors' decisions on things.
You've enlightened them on something. That's the point. The point is they don't know the rules to the game.
Yes.
And we are helping them to learn the rules of the game.
Yep.
And really, it's not our job to inform them.
Right.
So if they want to do something, above and beyond, that's on them. Mm-hmm. I'm going to play by the rules of the game. Mm-hmm. Yep. So you better figure out the rules of the game.
Right.
And representatives.
I hate to refer to it as a game, but you know what I'm getting at.
Yeah. Representatives of the Illinois Attorney General's office, as well as multiple legal professionals, have stated that the request from Mr. Mattingly is overbroad,
Right.
overly burdensome.
Mm-hmm.
But let's go a step further than that. Mm-hmm. Merely talking about things going on in the city is not city business.
No, it's not. I
dare say there's next to nothing in our communications that is actually under the definition of city business. If I'm talking about a vote, or if you want me to take something to the mayor, or you're coming to me to ask me to get something done through the mayor or through the council, that's city business. Talking about activism, talking about the city, just the city, or talking about city officials, that's not necessarily
even speaking
city
strategy
business.
isn't.
Even talking strategy.
Yep.
And again, they don't know the rules to the game. Mm-hmm. So I went back to them, and Mr. Goen suggested, for those of you that watched the meeting, he suggested that I was, he implied that I was just, skirting the rules and that I didn't answer. I did answer on two different occasions. I said, overly broad, overly burdensome.
Yeah.
And, oh, by the way, the city, if you're the person that made the request,
Right.
you're the city official, you don't need to be coaching or acting on behalf of that person.
Right.
Correct.
You then send me his request. I respond.
And I tell him it's overly broad, overly burdensome, unduly burdensome.
If you agree with it. Now, if you don't agree with it, then define what city business is. I asked him, define what city business. Give me some examples of city business. I went out on my own and got those examples. I went out and researched it. I talked to double figures of attorneys on this. I mean, I did my homework and my research. There's very little, if anything, in there that's city business. But at the very least, define city business to me. And then once I respond, give that response. Now it's up to him to do what he's going to do.
Yep. The problem
He better know the rules of the game too.
Right.
Yep.
Well, the problem here with Goins obviously doesn't know the rule of the games either. But it showed. You could see his ignorance. I mean, you just could.
Well, just like with the violations of the Open Meetings Act and his question, what time did we meet there? That has zero bearing on it.
Did he lie about that on tape? Did he not give the full truth? Did he? I don't remember. Do you?
I believe that there was a lot of incorrect things stated. I believe that.
Let's explain to everybody what this is about.
Oh yeah.
So
there was
on December the 3rd
Yeah.
of 2025, the mayor met in his office with 2 members of the city council. Whether it was a planned meeting or a by chance meeting doesn't matter because city business was discussed. I know that because the attorney's letter to the Public Access Counsel of the Attorney General's office stated what they had discussed.
the city's attorney.
The city's attorney. So the mayor and these 2 council members, the attorney representing them in my complaint against the attorney to the Attorney General, explained what was discussed, and it was absolutely city business.
Yeah, they conceded that. The city attorney conceded that point, but basically said, "Yeah, but it was no big deal." Basically,
Yeah. At one point, they said it was a 2-minute meeting. Another point, they said he came by about 8:30 in the morning. The phone call that we made was in the afternoon, and they were still there. I don't know. I don't know what the truth is, but I do know
Except we know they
that
discussed it.
3 members of our public body, which is we have 9 members of the public governing body, the 8 council members and the mayor, and a quorum is the majority of that, which is 5. Illinois Sunshine Laws, the Illinois Open Meeting Act requires that when there is a majority of a quorum, which is the majority of that 5, 3, that it must be a properly noticed meeting, open to the public. Okay, and that didn't happen. So I was just calling them out on it, and I've found that it's happened in emails and text messages,
electronic communications,
because that qualifies as a meeting under the Illinois Open Meetings Act. I've found it multiple times in the text messages and communications with the mayor and council members. I've seen it multiple times. And maybe I should compile it all and send it all to the Attorney General's office.
Maybe so.
So,
maybe we'll get some. Maybe people.
Well, they're
pay
taking it
attention.
very lightly. They don't care about the
They don't care.
Open Meetings Act.
But
They
I
just
hope-
don't care.
Hope that the voters do.
Yeah.
Yep.
So we got way off track there, but
that's
so
fine.
yeah, he tried to gig me on the FOIA issue.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I handled it
You
okay.
did.
I
You
mean,
did pretty good. Yeah.
yeah, thank you. I wish I'd have maybe elaborated a little bit more, but sometimes I elaborate too much.
So next up was Teresa Green.
Oh yeah.
And Teresa Green spoke emotionally about the loss of Bob Johnson. Bob Johnson was a longtime member of the community, a very successful farmer in the county. Served on a fire department, the Denison Township Fire Department, for over 50 years as a volunteer. And he had been responsible for doing the fireworks in not only our town, but also neighboring town of Vincennes, Indiana, because he had his pyrotechnics license and such. And unfortunately, sadly, during the July 3rd celebration of our nation's 250th birthday, here in Lawrenceville, one of the mortars exploded at ground level and caused a traumatic brain injury. Mr. Johnson was lost. That was very sad. But so Teresa spoke, emotionally about that, and I can understand the cause for her emotion. There were some tears shed, and Teresa's got a soft heart, and that's one of the things I really like about her. So. Next up was Dawn Brewer, and Dawn, again, she echoed some of the things that you said about the Wishnick Park.
Yeah, the Wishnick Park.
And the toys and stuff, the playground equipment's been put there. It's going to be,
It is beautiful.
it actually was available as of yesterday for the kids to start playing on, and she congratulated the city for the work done there. Next was Mr. Hedge, Bob Hedge, and he started out by saying that Don stole his thunder because he was going to congratulate the city as well for the work at Wishnick Park. I think a lot of people are very happy with what the city has done by beautifying and improving Wishnick Park. It's a much needed thing. And then, of course, Mr. Fritz and Mr. Waldrop, neither one had anything to add for the evening. The mayor did, during his mayor's report, mention that our local cannabis dispensary has reached out to him to ask for the city to add, because recent development in Illinois state law allows for cannabis curbside delivery. So you could pull up and they can bring it out to your vehicle and do curbside delivery. Okay. The mayor did explain that just because state law allows it doesn't mean that Lawrenceville law has to loosen up to allow it as well. We can have a little bit more restrictive rules on that, and I think it would probably be the consensus of the council to not have curbside delivery, just based on the interaction, the reactions by members of the council whenever he mentioned that. So, other than that, he announced next meeting is going to be August 13th, 7 p.m. I want to add one thing. I want to invite people, if you see this before Monday, July 13th, we're going to be gathering at 4 p.m. at the Lawrenceville City Cemetery main entrance on 18th Street at 4 p.m. We're going to walk the cemetery and clean it. We will provide buckets, grabbers, and safety vest. If after a cursory drive around the cemetery, we see that it's clean, because the city does do a pretty good job of keeping it clean and mowed. Shout out to Grant McDonald and his crew. They're doing a fantastic job there, especially with all the work they're doing at the park as well. But if we find that it's already clean, we're going to walk some of the streets in that neighborhood along the sidewalks and streets, and we're going to clean up. And this is something that our group does about once a month during fair weather. So hope to see some people out for that. In the meantime, you fellas have anything to add?
I did make a couple notes here. You talked about a potential lawsuit if you gave the example of the what do you call that group that goes
The First Amendment auditors.
group? Yeah. Well, we do currently have some lawsuits in the court system regarding issues with the wastewater treatment department, not necessarily the plant, and that's with the people that had sewage backups in and under their homes, right? I would say two things. First of all, had proper maintenance been done, it's possible that those issues might not have happened, and I believe there are reports that indicate that from the EPA. Number one. Number two, when those people went to our leadership, had they not felt like they had been just blown off and in some cases disrespected, maybe it wouldn't have gotten to the point of a lawsuit. There are suits now, and I suspect that those suits in the end, we don't know yet, but it's possible that those suits will possibly cost more than had it been dealt with at the beginning with these citizens, even given that the maintenance wasn't being done properly. But so that's going to cost, I believe it's going to cost the city more money than had they not, A, dealt with the people that were having these problems up front, but B, and just as importantly, if not more importantly, had they been doing the things they were supposed to be doing right from the beginning. Because it had already been outlined that the CMOM, which is the maintenance program, wasn't being done in the area with the floods. The EPA put that out there.
It's important to know also that
example.
one of the litigants opposing the city in this lawsuit was a longtime friend of the mayor, supported the mayor in the most recent election campaign, voted for him.
He would not now.
When he was begging the city for help, he asked Aaron Tipsford, "What am I supposed to do? Call the EPA?" And according to this resident, Aaron told him, "Call the EPA. They're not going to help you either." And this resident decided to act on that, called the EPA, and then here we are. And I wonder if he ever wakes up in the middle of the night in a cold sweat thinking,
Why?
I shouldn't have said call them. They're not going to help anyway.
Because that opened up the can of worms.
It sure did.
By the way, if you cut back, do shortcuts, don't do what's right, it will always come to get you. It'll always come back on you, and it is.
Yep. Okay.
I just wanted to give that one example.
I wanted to say two things, which might seem like off the subject, but it's about Lawrenceville. If you haven't seen Ace Hardware, you need to go in there. I'm telling you, that place is beautiful. And they have a lot more stuff now than they did before. And I think Doug York is happy about it, too. I mean, he's really... And Walmart, it's like going into a... what do you call that? Scavenger hunt every day. You just never know where the bread's going to be. Go by the jeans, turn right. Okay, anyway.
Why is that, though?
And because they are also remodeling. And and if anyone does not know, the online grocery thing is on the right now. It has its own building and all that. And now they have two more self-checkouts. Instead of 4, there's 6. Things are just changing. But I think in the end, it will look better, and I think it actually will be better. But anyway, be patient. But yeah,
Doug York doesn't own.
no, he does not. But he thinks this is great that this is happening.
But that the new owners did that.
Yeah.
It's the new owners are Sanders.
Yes,
right?
Sanders, the chiropractor. Yes. And they're doing a great job. They really are.
They're really great people too.
And as Doug York used to say, or he said a long time ago, Walmart helped Ace Hardware by 20%. Because Walmart no longer carries much in hardware, and it literally helped his business.
Not only that, but if you go into Walmart looking for something to solve a problem in your home, you're going to get a deer in the headlights look from someone who doesn't really know what they're doing to help you out. But you go to Ace Hardware and you say, "Here, this is what I'm trying to accomplish," and those people are like, "Hey, I think I know what you need," and they're going to help you out. So I go there as well.
Yes,
yeah.
I did say I had 2 things earlier. I only got to one before Keith jumped in.
Before I jumped in and interrupted.
Rudely interrupted, yeah.
I know.
You're fine. The other thing was, you mentioned earlier that you run a news page that has
9,300 plus followers.
But I could have sworn you didn't have any influence. Didn't somebody say that?
Somebody did say it. Yeah, the mayor said that in a text message to his sister. Louie has no money or influence.
No money.
You just need to add a couple zeros in your bank account, and you'll be fine.
Yeah.
Well,
So I just
my
want to
bank account does well enough that I can pay for the things that I need in my life.
There you go.
And I occasionally, I help people that have less. So
There you go.
I'm not rich, but I'm not poor.
Right.
So I am happy. But
And you should be
my
proud of
influence,
that.
my influence is pretty good. Actually, I looked in the previous 28 days. I've had 1.6 million views on the news page.
Wow.
So
Sweet.
put that in your pipe and smoke it, Mr. Mayor, for the amount of influence.
You should be very proud of that. That's
Oh, wow.
All right. Well, listen, everybody. Thanks so much for tuning in for another episode, a very long episode of the local Lens Lawrenceville Unfiltered. Make sure you like the video. Hit the notification bell, subscribe to the channel, do all of that stuff, share it on social media, share it everywhere because we need to get our numbers up. We appreciate you. And until next time, peace. All right.
You guys didn't say we were all.
Well, I just kind of knew.